team that is not getting penalized. Yeah.
Right, but that's my question.
I see. Gotcha.
If you move it, no, it shouldn't be the penalized team. It shouldn't have been the
No. The team on the benefiting side of it is what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying though is, as poor as we are still having to face with a kicker.
Yeah.
And it almost became an important point.
Yeah.
Later in the game when they tried it and didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
My question though is, at that point, no, it wouldn't have given you the 2-point or the 7-point difference in score, but a point is a point.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think you could score on a running play into the end zone from the 2-yard line as well as the front line has been acting. That would have been my call.
Yeah, I'm with you.
2-yard line, run it in, put it as a 2-point conversion. They'd have been up by 5, and that might have come back to benefit them later on. My call. As far as the kickers are concerned, Butker better be back next week. Simple.
Yeah.
I mean, end of discussion. Put him in a wheelchair and have him kick with an automatic leg. Just something. That issue has to be resolved this week.
Yeah. George, I am absolutely with you on that front. Appreciate it, man. Harrison Butker has never seen his stock higher in Kansas City, and never has it been more urgent for him to return. Also, the one thing on that extra point, I just went back and had to pull up the play sheet again. It was an unnecessary roughness on Divine Diablo. If that was after the play, it would have been a dead ball foul, I believe. And so they would not have had the option to shorten it up, and it would have been enforcing the kickoff automatically. I do not think I ever saw a replay of what Diablo did there. I think that was after. Might have been when Mahomes was barking at him. I do not remember what the exact circumstance of that was. If I'm given an opportunity, though, to get 1 yard for 2 points, I would take that every time. I'm not sure if the Chiefs were given the opportunity there, if it was, in fact, a dead ball foul. But sometimes George brings in the takes I got to do some work on. I got to dig in an extra level deeper. Let's see if that's the case for Kyle as well. Kyle, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, thank you guys for taking my call. Man, I always love your show. And Josh, real quick before I get to my points, I just want to say thank you again for making me caller of the night last week. It was a huge honor. So
awesome. Well, thanks for bringing the heat.
So thank you. But here's my 3 points I would like to make, and one of my 3 points has a question at the end. But here's my first 3 points. Number one is the refs. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get this out of the way because I know that's going to be the hot topic tonight.
Sure.
But yesterday we saw Tom Brady getting sacked. A roughing the passer call, which was horrible. And then we have this roughing the passer.
Yeah.
So I guess my point, it's a point with a question, is, okay, do the refs need to start doing press conferences? I hate refs. I feel like are getting time TV, and I don't care about seeing refs on television as much as I do. Refs are not here to make television time. We're here to come see the players. I was a former high school football referee for 2 years, and I was told by one of my supervisors, as a high school football referee, nobody wants to see you, Kyle. You need to keep your flag in your pocket unless you see an oblivion call, unless it's oblivion. So here's my thing: should refs do press conferences now? Because since they're getting TV time as well, shouldn't they? Since they're getting the spotlight, should we the people, know what's going on and why they call that flag? Because I'm tired of these refs getting away with these bogus calls.
Yeah.
So that's my first point and that's my first point. My second point is, man, the defense again. I know they struggled tonight, but they made plays again where you need to make plays. Chris Jones with that sack, I know that sack got taken away from him, that strip fumble. But I love seeing plays like that. I love seeing the Chiefs making plays more and more than I did last year. I think we're getting to the quarterback a lot faster. I know we need to – and I know, by the way, this is a long season. I'm not expecting everyone to be perfect. But the Chiefs have seemed to get – the defense has been a lot better than last year, Josh, and I want to talk about that defense. And that's just – the defense has gotten so much better last year, Josh. I am so proud of this defense. They have come a long way from last year. So then my third point is, and I know I'm going to probably get – I mean, you probably know the answer to this, but you talked about Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes. Man, Travis Kelsey, good night. If I wind up against team, I don't know if I would pee myself or crap myself because I don't know if I want to face that guy.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to tick that guy off. Whatever Kelsey seems to bring it every single game, and I mean, he's just a phenomenal player. So this is where my question becomes, Josh, and you probably know the answer to this, and you probably know where I'm going to ask. But should Travis Kelsey be considered league MVP? Should he be one of those kids? I know you got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, but should Travis Kelsey be a league MVP candidate? I'll listen off the air, but thank you guys so much for taking my call, and I'll be listening to you guys tomorrow, you and Jason tomorrow.
Kyle, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate that very, very much. Good points and good questions throughout. I'm gonna rat-a-tat-tat through them here. One being our referees. I'm gonna work backwards actually, so everybody's got it fresh. I'll say this on the Travis Kelsey point. I don't know if we're going to see a non-quarterback win this award in our lifetimes. Again, in terms of a MVP that is not a signal caller. I just don't know if we're ever going to see that. If we are, it's probably going to be a running back that has 2,500 all-purpose yards and a crummy quarterback that makes him even more impressive. I don't know. So I don't, and for a pass catcher, it's just impossible because if your pass catcher wins, is that not also reflective on your quarterback, et cetera, et cetera? I would love for Travis Kelsey to be the offensive player of the year this year. And I think he will have a legitimate campaign for that. A 4-touchdown day will help the stats. His overall counting numbers, he'll need to cross 1,000 to make that case. Again, whatever he's at now in receiving touchdowns could, of course, be anything. I don't know where he'll be as the year goes on. I don't know if he's going to have multiple touchdowns every game or if eventually teams will key in on him and then make Marquez Valdez-Scantling or somebody else beat them. I'm not sure how that will evolve, but I'd love to see him get into the Offensive Player of the Year conversation because he needs more hardware that reaches the level he's been performing at. The defense being better, I do think, again, you can point to the holes here. You can point to the flaws and get nervous at the end whenever it's just Chiefs defense and a whole bunch of and Devontae Adams, and let's see who goes. Concerning moment, but yes, this defense has overall been better. I think this is the worst game of the year for the run defense, but the Raiders kept going back to Josh Jacobs. That Raiders offensive line's been better than expected all year long. They really performed well tonight. But one element that I will continually refer back to on the defense at the moment, no Mike Dana tonight, a quarter and a half of Frank Clark, something like that. He was out a little bit before halftime, if memory serves. Still no Willie Gay Jr., still no Trent McDuffie. So I think you can point. Gary was pulling into the weaknesses in the defense, and now we're talking about where the ceiling could be, the growing pains and all of that. Somebody pointed out on Twitter, hey, could you not say that Watson and Cook were in pretty good position and that Carr made a good throw? It was a good route to a great receiver on a really good throw. Positioning was okay. You'd like to have, I think a veteran safety maybe takes a slightly different angle there. I reserve the right, as always, to change my mind on a replay that I haven't seen, because that's just sort of the nature of the beast of this show. So, whatever it may be. I think you can very fairly say growing pains, ceilings higher, room to grow, and also say floor is higher than it's been in the past. There are playmakers on this defense. The pass rush was not getting to Derek Carr as the Raiders were building their lead. And then it started to show up. Really, the moment that it turned should have been the strip sack. That's also when the crowd turned, of course, and that became a real pivot point, just not in the way that I expected it to be. This is the Sports Radio 810 WHB postgame show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. It's brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. One piece of news that has already come out that is bad news. It was evident in that there was going to be bad news and how quickly it all came together. The Chiefs have said that defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton has torn his ACL. That will end his 2022 season. He was playing nearly half the defensive snaps for this team coming into this game. He was second in snaps for defensive tackles behind only Chris Jones. That is a really big loss. And also, I do think the Chiefs are in an okay place to begin to replace him just in a next man up sort of way. I don't know that any of these guys are as dynamic as a pass rusher, but Colin Saunders has played a lot and played well. He has the athleticism to do some of that. And then back on the practice squad, Danny Shelton is still sitting there. And I believe Taylor Stallworth also still on the practice squad. So if that is the case, the Chiefs do have some depth at defensive tackle. That could be elevated, could be brought to the active roster permanently, could be game day elevations, but they're going to have options there for whenever they are getting ready for Buffalo, guys who have been in the system, and then also beyond. So a big loss, but yeah, they do have Danny Shelton and Taylor Stallworth both still on the practice squad, and Colin Saunders is going to have to keep getting a larger and larger role, which is going to be a legitimate challenge. Still good to keep chucking through the phones here, Beard. Just like a few more calls before we begin getting the press conferences. We go now to Travis. Travis, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What's up, Brisco?
How you doing? I'm good.
So I'm going to take a little bit different take on tonight's game. I'm actually super disappointed, not in the team, but just the product. Like, I enjoy watching football. It's one of the things that I genuinely enjoy in my week. And to have it so affected by a call like that, and not just – this isn't just a missed call. Like, this is a changing of the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't even decide what is a penalty anymore. It's changed the game. I mean, Micah Parsons tweeted out during the game, I guess we'll just go to 7-on-7 flag football. Like, what are we supposed to do? So my thing is I hope the NFL takes a good long look at this weekend's game. And maybe, I don't know what you thought about this, but maybe make 15-yard penalties reviewable. I know it will extend the length of the game, but I'm tired of my football being taken from me because of human error. And I know it's always been a part of the game, but it's worse now than it's ever been. You know, all these crews have different philosophies on what's a penalty and what's not, and it's getting out of hand. It's ruining. I don't enjoy this NFL. I don't enjoy this football. And this was a great game tonight, and it was tainted for me because of how bad it was officiated. But to talk about the game in itself, I think this game's not even close if the offensive line just plays better. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt Orlando Brown, this will be his last year here. That guy's terrible. That guy's not very good. Pat, I think, in the first quarter ran, 6 of 11 dropbacks. He was pressured. I mean, he just ran for his life there in the first half. But overall, I'm glad they got the win. I think this was kind of a look-ahead deal. They got Buffalo on the other side. I think they kind of understand that, and that's probably why this game was the way it was. But I don't know. I'm not trying to put a sour note on the night. No. I know they got the win. It's a big win. But to have something like that, I mean, that's fundamentally what I know to be a strip sack is no longer a strip sack now. It's a penalty. I don't understand where we're going with the game from here. So,
Travis, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being the one to make the sour ref reminder because you made a lot of good points that I do want to talk about. But I don't like talking about refs very much because of that exact reason. That is very well set up by Travis. And so let me keep setting them up and try to knock down a couple more. Whenever the conversation does begin with the referees, it is not about the dozens of incredible athletes that work incredibly hard to do totally superhuman things on a football field in front of you. That is why all of us are watching. The reason that referees and umpires are on our fields in our sports is because you can't have a game with no rules. It can't be literally Calvin ball. So you have to have some people out there that try to keep everybody playing by more or less the same rules. Yeah, you're going to have people tugging over this way. Maybe you get a hold that's not a hold or whatever. But for the most part, you just want to define the rules and enforce them fairly. I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask for. The NFL is beyond the pale at this point. I wonder, I'm not saying that Travis is wrong. He might be dead on. I wonder if it's worse or not right now than it's been in the past. It is more visible right now for certain. We can take a microscope to it because of slow motion super replay with 400 zoom 4K cameras. And we know in our homes, as it's happening, what the right call should have been. It is hard to be, I have sympathy for referees that are trying to make these calls with their 65-year-old eyes at field level, trying to no-scope something from 15 yards away. That's difficult. But the NFL has failed their referees in attempting to protect them. Adam Teicher tweeted, "So I talked to referee Carl Sheffers about the roughing the passer penalty. I will have his explanation later. For now, just know that you won't like it."
What a tease by Adam.
He's busy. He's a reporter. He's
We'll
reporting
talk
right
to him
now.
about it tomorrow on The Zone.
Oh, yeah, great point. There is no accountability. That was a word that another caller used earlier, I think, or I wrote down the word accountability because I wanted to talk about it. Do refs need press conferences? That was a question asked by a previous caller. Is it worse than it's ever been? As Travis asks, I don't know. But we all see every blade of grass. And so what the NFL needs to do now, not at the end of this season, now. They turned concussion protocol revamping around. Go ahead and take this week with the Tom Brady roughing and this Chris Jones roughing and come up with better systems. Not rule emphases, not points of emphasis, not inclinations, not ideas, not, well, what if we come up with a better system to help your referees who cannot see everything on the field all at once. But we can at home because we have a million cameras. I knew Chris Jones got held on that one rush on Derek Carr that he didn't get the flag for. I said it sitting here live. I said, oh, that's a hold. He didn't get flagged for it because maybe the referee wasn't staring at Chris Jones. I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. The point of referees is to get the call right, to nail the rulings. That's what matters. We have more information from our couches than they have standing on the field. I don't think that every one of these, I don't think Jerome Boger and Carl Sheffers are out here to ruin the sport. I think they can't keep up with it. And that's not even just because they're older. It's because they're not robots. It's because they're human beings with eyes. That is a big problem. We'll take more calls later, but right now, Justin Reed live at the podium from Arrowhead.
But all W's count the same way. So found a way to stick it out and get the win.
There was some big plays, and of course you had a couple of big hits back to back with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean that's the rivalry right there. I mean it was coming downhill. I think he did a great job today. He ran the ball really hard. In the first half we kind of got on the heels a little bit, but in the second half we really found a way to string together, hold them to 9 points, and give our offense a chance to go out and put some points on the board and then finish out the game. So, hard work, staying together, a positive attitude, give credit to the culture of this team that we didn't start falling apart on each other when things didn't look ugly, found a way to battle through the adversity and come out on top. Yeah, I understand what the officials are trying to make the game a safer game for the quarterbacks. I think that was just a unfortunate situation because the ball came out. It was a fumble. And then Chris was going for the ball, and he recovered it. You know what I mean? It's just inadvertent that he ended up landing on the guy, and I didn't agree with the penalty. But we don't control how the game is officiated. We only control how we play. So we had to come out the next play and just keep battling.
Did you feel like it was a spark a little bit?
Yeah. I think it energized the atmosphere. I think it energized the team that we got one took from us. And then at that point, you just got to band together and find a way.
It's been such a quick change from all of a sudden getting completion on the review. Now it's 4th and 1. What was the thought process about that play? Just what did you see from your vantage point?
Yeah. Man. This is a good thing for us. When I saw the play on the field, I thought it was incomplete. When they called it complete, I thought it was just swinging the same way a couple of other calls have gone on the field. But they ended up reviewing it, made the right decision, brought it back. Ended up putting the pressure on the 4th down play. Nick ended up getting through and putting pressure on Derek Carr. making them get the ball out of order, and we came out with a win. So very tough game. By all means, wasn't pretty, but still got it done.
Just you guys, as a leader on the defense, you guys always talk about not finger pointing, not getting down on your teammates. When a guy like Devontae Adams is having a game like he had tonight, what's your message to the young guys that are trying to?
Yeah, just keep sticking to it. A lot of the mistakes early in the game was more on us than it was on them. You know what I mean? It's us coming out and not executing the way that we're capable of, not playing up to our standards. So once we regrouped, got our heads on straight and started battling a little bit tougher, we made the game a lot more competitive. Yeah, I thought it was a little different. I know 83 went out the game early. I'm not sure what ended up happening with them. But they definitely wanted to establish the run. They wanted to make it a point running behind 28. And, it took us a second to adjust to that. But then we ended up coming around and switching up our play calling in order to combat it.
Last two, Todd and Justin, 2 weeks ago, you guys had a chance to finish off the game in Indianapolis and weren't able to get it done. So what does it say about this defense and how did it feel today to be in the same position to get it done?
Yeah. As the course of the season goes on, you just got to keep moving in the upward direction. So we didn't finish the game in Indianapolis. We were able to finish this one out. We can come out next week, got a big challenge in front of us with the Buffalo Bills. Definitely got to start faster than we did today. Don't want to peak too soon, but as long as we keep moving in the right direction, I think we're going to head to places that we're ready to go.
Just this came down to a final offensive drive from 1 point. What was the temperament of the team in the moments that sort of led to you guys having that play success?
Yeah, so we take it back to training camp. Training camp, we made a statement on the defensive side of the ball that we wanted to be an attitude defense. And when opportunity fell in our lap to finish the game on the defensive side, we wanted to do that. We didn't want to always have to rely on offense. We wanted to come out as a defense to be strong, be physical, and finish out games too. So we did it today, but we're going to have to do it next week too.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
There's Justin Reid live from Arrowhead. You heard him talk about the Chris Jones roughing and the spark there as well. It seemed pretty evident that there was something to that, but that there was a rejuvenation there for this defense. But to hear Justin Reid say it verbatim is, of course, kind of interesting. I did also want to mention, I just saw the tweet from Orlando Brown Jr. He just tweeted, "Kansas City, I love you." He got a little better over the course of the game, and both trenches did, I think. Marquez Valdez-Scantling currently at the podium. We go back out live to Arrowhead.
Throw that in there. But no, it was good being able to bounce back after being down 17-0 to a good football team. And no matter what their record says, they're a good football team, and they're our rivals. So they came in ready to play, and we were able to bounce back and get through that.
It seems like the success with Mahomes has started a little bit last week and kind of continues tonight. What do you think has led to this breakthrough between you two guys?
It's not really a breakthrough. It's just just opportunities. And I think that we're an offense that anyone could be in that position any week. And so sometimes it's going to be me, sometimes it's going to be another guy. I think that's the beauty of what we do. And I think it's great that it's not just going to be one guy, every week, and I think that's going to be able to, have our success be, really good down the road.
Patrick said earlier that he could tell the Raiders were putting a lot of double coverage on Kelsey, particularly in the middle of the field. I just wondered from your vantage point how much you could tell that was going to give you more one-on-one opportunities, particularly in that intermediate match.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Kelsey is the best tight end in the history of football, so he's going to demand that. Week in and week out, and somehow he still ends up with 4 touchdowns. But when you have a guy like that, you honor those things, and you take advantage when they start to put 2 or 3 guys, over his side of the field, and then you take advantage of the one-on-ones that you get.
I know he scores the touchdowns, but there's 9 guys that get receptions. It's more of a balanced offense than obviously previously before you were here. Just how different does it feel when every guy in the offense sort of has their part on a 17-point?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. Like I said earlier, you can't just key in on 1 or 2 guys. You have to respect that anyone can get the ball at any given time, and it makes our offense balanced, and we're able to do whatever we want to do at times.
I know this is probably different for you because last year you were with the Packers along with Arrowhead. I've seen them on the other side, and also I know you've been in the rivalry Green Bay, Chicago. What's this Chiefs Raiders right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was a completely different atmosphere. Obviously, when I was in Green Bay, we beat the Bears every time we played them, so it wasn't really much of a rivalry, to our side of it. But here, the atmosphere, the energy was just completely different, and I loved it, and I'm excited to go and beat them up in their own hometown as well. Oh man, that's big bro. Man, we talk all the time. We didn't get to talk after the game because he's a true competitor and he kind of got in and out as soon as the game's over with. But we'll talk every day pretty much. That's like family. I credit to him for the places that I am now. He taught me a lot in my 4 years in Green Bay. I'll forever cherish him for that.
When y'all were down early, what was the attitude on the sideline? What kind of motivational things happened? Or anything that you can remember that kind of helped spark y'all?
No, honestly, it was no different. I mean, we knew we were going to win the game, especially on our side of the ball. We were going to be able to figure it out. Like I said, they jumped out to an early lead, did some things well on defense, but there was no fear in our heart. There was no doubt that we weren't going to be able to score points. We got some of the best guys, and we got some Hall of Famers on that side of the ball too, so we were okay.
Matthew Wright into the second quarter there, with that 59-yard field goal. What did that do for you guys emotionally going to the locker room? Did you guys even realize that was? You guys probably didn't realize that was a franchise record.
I mean, we didn't realize, but we knew how long it was because he was standing on the 50-yard line when he kicked it. So, it was great to see. Obviously, he's been here, a week, being able to come in and kick for us and get us those points that we needed, because obviously we needed every single point to win this game. And we counted on him to get it done, and we trusted him to make a 60-yarder, and he delivered.
All right, thank you.
There is Marquez Valdez-Scantling here in the middle of a rivalry in the AFC West that, in the grand scheme of things, might have some similarities to the rivalry between the Packers and the Chicago Bears, where every time they played, Packers took the win. So far, the Chiefs up on the Raiders 1-0. But that game in Vegas is going to have some juice to it. I really do think that the Raiders are certainly they're better than a 1-4 would generally indicate. I don't know how this AFC West is going to shake out, but that is a that is going to be a juicy one, and also one where you're going to be, I guess, probably waiting on the edge of your seat to see who the refereeing crew is. That's a pretty cool thing to have to seriously say out loud. Oh, well. We are awaiting Travis Kelsey.
Speaking of Kelsey, very quickly, I have a fun little stat that I just noticed.
I'd love that.
So we know he had 4 touchdowns. How many yards do you think he had?
I said it earlier in the show, but my memory's not very good. So I'm going to say 400.
It was 25.
Man, I'm an idiot.
On 7 receptions.
7 catches.
Over half of his receptions were touchdowns.
25 yards. 4 touchdowns. Absolutely ludicrous. Beards, what I'm thinking is that if we got to pause right now, if there's no audio from the room, I wouldn't. Oh, right now, see, we're listening. Beards has his ear to the ground. He's got the cup up to the wall, right now, like you're trying to listen through, like a secret conversation your parents are having. That secret conversation with Travis Kelsey, live from Arrowhead.
We started off a little slow, had some calls not go our way, and got not only us fired up, but that entire stadium fired up. And Arrowhead had our back, so we just rallied together and really fought through that one.
When it is an emotional game like that, how much does it sort of get you going?
I mean, I feel like I'm always trying to be fired up, trying to bring the energy as a leader on the team, but to get that energy and focus going in the right direction, that's the biggest thing, and that's where we lean on Coach Reid, Coach Bieniemy, our offensive staff, at least on the offensive side of the ball, to keep it composed, don't let it get too emotional, and just play with a lot of passion for the guy next to you.
It looked like you were trying to calm Andy down at one point when during sort of anger about that call. Is that a little different dynamic?
I've never tried to calm that guy down. Once the Big Red gets fired up, baby, we're rolling. I promise you that.
You ever seen him that mad?
A few times. Maybe not for the right reasons, but.
You've never had 4 touchdowns in a game. I know you're a big team guy, but at what point did maybe you start to realize like this could be one of the more special nights of my career?
I'm not even thinking about it like that, man. It was a fun game to see everybody rally together like that, being down, what was it, 17, I think. Nobody cracked, nobody, you didn't see doubt in anybody's eyes. All it did was just, almost build the beast. Made us kind of rally together, circle the wagons in a way, and just and fight for each other. And when you see that out of us, man, it's we know we can play some good football when we have that kind of mentality.
You've been part of teams that have come back from deficits in previous years, but this was the first time for this group. Mm-hmm. Any part of you wondering how this group would do in that kind of situation?
We got a lot of hard workers, man, and on top of that, we got a veteran offensive line. We got a veteran quarterback, the best one in the biz, and a lot of receivers that have been in tough positions before. Marquez had an unbelievable game. Can't say enough about his work ethic and what he's brought to this team, both as a mentality and as and just as a veteran leader. And then you see Juju making big plays downfield. McCole, obviously a staple for the past couple years for us, has been in those adverse situations, fought through, found ways to win, found ways to have success. It never once, doubt never seeped in with this group. And it's because we got a lot of veteran guys that know when times get tough, we just rally and stick together.
You talk about the rallying and stick together. When things aren't going right, who has the main voice in that, or is it just a collective?
It's a collective. It's a collective group. You saw some passion out of 1-5 today. That got me going even more than I already was fired up. From there, Orlando Brown is an unbelievable vet to have on that offensive line. You can't say enough about what his mentality is. And then it just, all 5 of them today rallied together and found a way to stop the pass rush so the Pack can get the ball downfield. Smart guy, one of the biggest guys out there to enforce his will. When he starts talking, everybody listens. He's had a bunch of success in this league and a bunch of success as a football player. We know the family tree, and it's so much fun to play with a guy like that, knowing that, when times do get rough, we got somebody on the O-line, a dog on the O-line that's going to be able to rally the group. And sure enough, all 5 of them up front battled their tails off, and we found a way to get a dub for sure.
Travis did, I think it was an 8-yard touchdown. He got outright and then drags across. It looked like you got a couple stiff ones. And you just take us through that play a little bit. It looked like you were almost looking for contact.
Yeah, I feel like once you get in the red zone, the windows get tighter. You got to play more physical. You got to, there's just a mentality that you have to bring, and we saw the past couple weeks, especially last week. Everyone loved to talk about how Pat is, the magic Mahomes that he is. The play's never dead, man, and you'll forever see us working until that whistle blows or until the play's dead, and it's just a mentality that we have. And I know that as creative as he is, he's going to find a way to get anybody the ball in the right position. And sure enough, I caught my momentum going across field, knowing that everybody was flowing to the side that I had caught the ball on. And then from there, I got a huge block by McCole, and sure enough, just made a couple guys miss to be able to get in there.
Last 4. Right. I suppose McCole's going to want that to be a pancake. I don't know. Grade that out in there.
Listen, that's looked like a pancake to me from my angle.
When you're talking about Orlando and I think Wiley too, when things were looking tough early for them, how hard is it for tackles in particular to switch that momentum against good pass rushers like that and to turn the tables during?
I mean, both our tackles are pros. Both of them have a dog mentality. It's going to take more than just one sack to be able to get them off their game or to be able to get in their head. Obviously, there's things we can do offensively that can slow that down with a great run game. I know a lot of what the Raiders were trying to do was to slow me down at the line of scrimmage. They were using their best pass rushers to try and hit me before the ball or before I even got into route. Using that to our advantage, things like that. It's just I think that over the course of a game, you start to get comfortable against the guys you are playing against. Hats off to the Raiders. They came out with a lot of energy, with a lot of fight, and they maintained that throughout the game. But I just feel like when we're playing our tails off, playing for each other like you saw, it's going to be a 4-quarter dogfight, and we're fortunate enough to come out with a win tonight.
As you talk about that, and as you mentioned, you all were down 1-20 obviously, what happened with Christian. What's the message that Andy Reid is especially knowing that the team was fired. What was the message that he gave you going into the locker room and coming out of the half?
One play at a time. One play at a time, rally together and find a way. And he knew he didn't have to say too much. There were a lot of guys. He felt I think everybody kind of felt the disappointment almost, and that fired us up to go out there in the second half and just finish how we finished the first half, if that makes sense.
Travis, earlier in your career, I'm sure it was a bit odd or a bit difficult to go through a double team, especially going up against a team like New England, knowing it's the defensive principles that are being applied today. Just how much do you enjoy that challenge of maybe, as you said earlier, sort of flipping, using these double teams to the offense?
I love it. I love it. Bring it, man. Bring it. I'm going to make it so you got to bring a triple team. That's my mentality. I still try and find ways to get open. I still got to be able to, be there for the quarterback on time. And I take pride in, even if they're trying to hit me at the line of scrimmage, be able to get through that, still get in the route and still be on time. And it's just, it's a mentality, man, that never be stopped.
It seems like a lot of work, but how much of it is a joy when you go through all that work and a guy like Marquez or Juju or Sky makes a reception?
Oh, man, gets me fired up. Gets me fired up because then I can talk. I almost said then I can talk smack to the guys, to the two that are guarding me, saying, you might want to go to your defensive coordinator and switch it up here, bud.
You've got a lot of records, Travis, and a lot of a short list. But 4 touchdowns, there's tight ends, only 3 others that have done it. Guys like Mike Ditka, Kellen Winslow. How special does it feel to be in a group like that?
I mean, kind of piggybacking off of what I said last week when I went up to number 5 on the yards list. I've been so fortunate to be here and reap the benefits of Coach Reid, this offensive staff, my tight end coach Tom Melvin, and then obviously great players like a Patrick Mahomes or a Alex Smith, or I got to see Jamal Charles earlier today. It's just, I've been so fortunate to be here, and I think it's a mentality to never let a day stop, never let a day, or never let a day slip by that you're not working your tail off for the guys around you. And it's in my mind, I'm going to have that mentality until I hang these things up. And wherever I land on all these lists that you guys keep bringing up, it's pretty cool to just be in talks with them.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Travis.
There's Travis Kelsey, certainly amongst the very best of all time at his position. A pretty tremendous place to be. We need to take a timeout here. I believe we're done on the press conference front for right now from Arrowhead. If you're on hold right now, we'll be able to blow through a whole bunch of calls on the other side of this break. We've got to take our timeout because our clock management is right up there with Nathaniel Hackett's. It's just something we're never really going to hang our hat on. Hopefully make enough plays, though, that the clock doesn't get in the way by the very end. We will hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. We will talk to our friend Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. We will finish out the calls that are on the board right now at the very least and continue to break down an absolutely bonkers game of Monday Night Football. I am Joshua Brisco here with you as the Chiefs are victorious 30-29. So we talk about it all here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
In the pursuit of our passions, there's no finish line. For those who chase new adventures, bigger goals, unforgettable moments, once-in-a-lifetime trophies, Bushnell innovates the widest range of products for you. Because just like you, we are built for the pursuit.
Did you know there are more than 82 million Americans who don't have a primary care physician and over 130 million who avoided medical care during the pandemic? If you're one of those people who are proud that you never go to the doctor, we need to talk. This is Dr. Troy Burns with Pro Partners Healthcare, and I want you to know a fact that could save your life. Over the past 30 years, more than 150 research studies have shown that people who have better access to primary care doctors are healthier, live longer, and save money on their health care costs. The better the access, the better the results. You need a doctor even if you feel fine, and even if you never go to the doctor. Pro Partners is a different kind of family medicine practice that guarantees direct access to your personal physician literally any time. We deliver easy access to a doctor who knows you and is always available, and the peace of mind that comes with it. If you're ready to meet a doctor who can help you be healthier, live longer, and save money on healthcare costs, call 913-451-4776 or check us out on the web at propartnershealthcare.com.
Airgas in Kansas City has a CDL driving position to fill. We're looking for someone that values spending their evenings and weekends with their family and friends. This is a 5-day-a-week position with local deliveries. We have one of the top safety ratings with a safety focus on our equipment, associates, and the community. If you want a job with financial security, we work every week of the year. 10 vacation days plus holidays with a full benefits package. For more info, go to airgas.com. That's airgas.com. Airgas is a sales distribution company. The drivers are the backbone of our business. Whether you're on the way to or from the game or listening from the road, it's important to remember driving impaired can change everything in an instant. It's time to show me Zero Driving Missouri to safer roads. Brought to you by the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety and SaveMoLives.com.
ICON is seeking overweight but otherwise healthy adults to participate in a clinical research study. Participants must be 21 to 65 years old, non-smokers or light smokers, and have a body mass index of 27 to 40. Volunteers must be available for 4 stays totaling 12 nights and 12 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $21,600 for time and travel. Call ICON today at 913-210-5900.
Tuesdays at Papa Murphy's, you can get large signature or thin crust pizzas for just $12.
We call it Take and Bake Tuesday.
Talking $12 Take and Bake Tuesday?
Yeah, that's today's topic.
It's terrific for tuning up a tiring Tuesday through a tasty $12 treat.
Truthfully, Take and Bake Tuesday tops tossing back tacos.
Tell that taco to hit the trail. It's Take and Bake Tuesday's time to triumph.
Time out, this is turning into a tongue twister.
Totally tis. So just try Take and Bake for $12 every Tuesday at Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
The home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Daniels breaks a tackle at the 5. He will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Jayhawks.
Harris saves it. Ahead to Ochai. Ochai to David. He dunked it.
It's a bear for Kansas basketball. Your Jayhawks are national champions.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Sports Radio 810 WHB and Chicken and Pickle present the second annual Kansas City Pickleball Championship. Join us October 20th at Chicken and Pickle, as we'll have 3 levels of competition for beginners, intermediate, and experts, plus a celebrity exhibition tournament and a party from 4 to 6. Head to 810WHB.com/pickleball to register now. Don't miss out. Only a limited number of teams are available in each division. Head to 810WHB.com/pickleball to register now.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. Tito's is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, Neighborly 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly. Whether you're on the way to or from the game or listening from the road, it's important to remember driving impaired can change everything in an instant. It's time to show me Zero Driving Missouri to safer roads. Brought to you by the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety and SaveMoLives.com.
Get a stylish solution for every room with window treatments at Menards and save with 11% off everything. Get window images, room darkening vinyl and aluminum blinds, faux wood blinds, and cellular shades trimmed to width for free. Choose from durable, economical options to stunning custom designs, all 11% off. Good through October 16th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at
Menards. One of the Raiders offset eye. Mahomes under center. First and goal. Snap, spin, fake handoff. Here comes the rush. He throws a pass end zone. It's caught. Kelsey in the back of the end zone. Caught it again. Number 4. Travis Kelsey has caught 4 touchdown passes tonight. And that one puts the Chiefs up 30-23 with 7:25 to go. And Kelsey, the first receiver to ever have 4 touchdown receptions on Monday Night Football.
A tremendous game from Travis Kelsey and so many highlights to pick from the Chiefs tonight. as long as you want a Travis Kelsey touchdown. I certainly did. That is the sweet play of the game, brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop by any KC location for Travis Kelsey's 87 and running concrete and help raise money for this worthy cause. 87 and running and Andy's Frozen Custard, the perfect option play for KC fans everywhere. Everything about Travis Kelsey was pretty much perfect tonight. A tremendous effort, a historic 4-touchdown game from one of the greatest tight ends of all time. We will hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in a little bit. Also, we will hear from Carl Sheffers on the pool report there as Adam Teicher interviewed with the head ref here. He just tweeted that out. It's been tweeted at Adam Teicher. I will review that momentarily. But first, let's try to get through some of these phones. Appreciate everyone who's been waiting on hold for a little while, especially Dan. Dan, appreciate you waiting, my friend. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Joshua, how you doing? 1-8 for Carr. Yeah, it was a great team win by the Chiefs. Kelsey with 4 touchdowns, and the defense is getting better. I know they gave up 154 as did Josh, Jacobs, and 124 to Devontae Adams. And let's get to this now, Joshua. I just heard Chris Jones on the post game on Metro Sports. He's running full speed. And they asked him, what did you tell the referees? Well, I'm going to tell the referees not to stop full speed. Now, I understand, you got to protect the quarterback. Come on, that's ridiculous, Joshua. And then now he wants to make it a boot change. What do you think about that? Let's take care of the Bills. Take care of yourself, Joshua.
I appreciate it, Dan. Always good to hear from you, sir. So here's what Adam Teicher said. I've got nothing to disagree with you on, Dan, anywhere through that. Here's what Teicher tweets. Sheffer said that the fact that Carr fumbled was irrelevant. He said under the rule, he still gets protection until he can protect himself. Said he penalized Chris Jones for landing on him with full body weight. So according to him, he enforced the rule correctly. More here from Carl Sheffer. Is it a soft ch or is it a hard ch?
It's Carl.
I call him Carl. The quarterback is in the pocket and he's in a passing posture. He gets full protection of all the aspects of what we give the quarterbacks in a passing posture. So when he was tackled, my ruling was that the defender landed on him with full body weight. The quarterback is protected from being tackled with full body weight. My ruling was roughing the passer for that reason. Follow up from Adam Teicher. The fact that the ball came out before the quarterback landed on the ground and the player landed on the quarterback, does that negate the penalty at all? That's when he responds with no passing protection until he can defend himself, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that the ball came out and was subsequently recovered by the defense is not relevant as far as the protection the quarterback gets. Quote from here's the question from Teicher. So nothing changes as far as the rule when he loses the ball? Sheffers. Just as if he had thrown the ball, he still gets protection. It's the same here. It's just a loose ball of another sort, but he would still get protection that is afforded to players in a passing posture. That extends after he's no longer in control of the ball. Teicher. A replay review in that situation would have been useless because of what you're telling me now. Even though he lost the ball, it's still roughing the passer? Sheffers. Correct. Question. Was New York involved in this decision? Sheffers. New York was not involved in this decision.
Sounds like he's just making this up as he goes.
That doesn't sound like the NFL referees.
Flag!
Was that too mean? Was that 15 yards for being mean?
Yeah, it might be 40.
Is it honestly spot foul for sure? It should get them all the way to Overland Park. Silly, some real silliness going on out here in the zebra department, and just did not do anybody any favors here whatsoever. Back to the phones. Next up, we got Butch. Butch, talk to me, Butch.
Gentlemen, how about those Chiefs?
How about Butch? How about them?
Look, my best to be positive because a lot of my viewing from today was a mix of waking up from a nap, being extremely stressed, being upset by what I saw from a multitude of different things about this game. But, gentlemen, believe it or not, good things happen when you win football games in the NFL, and I got a few things to say about it. The first thing that I kind of caught, I heard you riff on this earlier, man, right? Like, the Raiders at one point in the game are about to go up 21-0, and this game is about to be really, really tentative for the Chiefs. But they gave us a carrot. They kicked a 3 kicked a field goal to go up 17-0 instead of going for the touchdown. It was a 4th and short, guys. They probably should have went for it if all the analytics were to play out exactly the way they thought they were going to play it. And I'm confused because later in the game, so they don't do that. Later in the game, they go for 2 after scoring a touchdown. I don't get it. This is where the analytics part just confuses me, and I'm sure it confuses a lot of these coaches too because they don't know what they're doing with it over there in Las Vegas. The other thing I'm going to say, man, I'm praying for Frank Clark. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Is the illness keeping you out of a game?
Yeah.
I've heard it before, but in a game?
Yeah.
Something's really wrong there. I just hope whatever it is, he gets through it. Praying for my guy, Turk Wharton. He's out with an ACL. But, man, shout out to the guys who did step up and play. You got Malik Herring out there a little bit. You got some other guys on the D-line. Of course, Chris Jones was doing his thing. Got to give out game balls to him. Sky, MVS had a good game, had a drop, still had a great game. Of course, Travis Kelsey. They did their thing, man. And I guess, the last thing I want to say on this, there's no more there's no more 5 to 7 step drop consistently in your offense type game plans anymore, guys.
Yeah.
The tackles just aren't good enough.
Yeah.
They're not good at it. I'm sorry. This is part of your identity now. Part of the identity now is helping them, chipping, bringing tight ends, keeping guys in the block, running more gap scheme, running more short passing game. That's just who you are now. If you don't want to get 15 killed, then that's going to have to be it. And I love it. It was a great win. Savor the flavor for 24 hours because on Sunday, you are going to need the best effort you have possibly given throughout the first beginning portions of any game that Andy Reid's ever coached here if you want a chance to beat the team that's going to show up. All right? So, have a good one.
Hey, Butch, you savor the flavor for these next 24 hours. Appreciate you, Butch. I'm glad that he said the A word. I will mention it briefly. The analytics. It's funny because I feel like I am the analytics guy around these parts pretty frequently, and it's not my favorite thing to talk about. I think it's more interesting as a study than it is as a conversation. Conversationally, it gets boiled down into some pretty binary things that kind of go against the idea of having more information. Not every call is an obvious just coin flip one way or the other. There was a tweet from a PFT commenter that I thought was excellent from today. It was just, analytics is any time a number makes me mad. And so specifically within this game, just to pick a couple of the examples, Josh McDaniels going for 2 to try to go up by 1 instead of tying it at 30. Analytically, could have really gone either way. I mean, that the mathing out of all of that was within a margin for error. What I think Josh McDaniels was doing was saying, hey, I want to make the Chiefs drive down the field for a touchdown, or they have to rely on their kicker, who they do not trust, to hit a game-winning field goal, and then we get the ball back and we have a chance to give our kicker the better shot there if we need to, maybe we need to come back from a 2-point deficit if they are able to kick it through, or if they go down and drive for the touchdown, we got to take the ball back regardless, whatever. I thought they would just kick the extra point and tie it there. The Chiefs going for 2 was to make it a 2-possession game, but by getting just up by 8, you kind of make it a 1.5-possession game. I think the math on that was more supportive of going for 2 there, but I wasn't pounding the table, and I could have seen that going either way. The Chiefs probably should have gone for it when they ended up punting from midfield, and I thought that the Raiders definitely should have gone for it, back in that example that Butch mentioned. We're not always we're getting live numbers on Twitter as we can look at the different fourth down bots and everything. But it's really not a binary, either you listen to the numbers or you don't. Or this is the part that maybe is the most important. If anyone has any stomach for this conversation left, this is the one thing that I would ask you to come with me on. Not every risky decision is analytically sound. Not every conservative decision is like the tough football play. That's the one thing that kind of always confuses me. Like to say, oh, well, the nerds would say to hand it to Josh Jacobs and see if he can get 2 yards. And the hand in the dirt football guys say give it to the soccer player to try to kick it through for 1 free point. The sort of like cultural impact of all of this has gotten very strange to me. Not every risky decision is about the numbers. Not every situation has a clear-cut analytical answer, and most of those conversations have some of the facts get lost in the narratives, if that makes any sense. we've kind of lost the plot, I think, just in terms of how we have these conversations. So that's my one miniature TED Talk for the show here tonight. Next up, we have Raymond. Raymond, you're on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What's up, Raymond?
Hi, I used to be the Crazy Ray on 610 Sports, but they never take my call. Thank you for taking it. And first of all, before I watched the game, I went and prayed. I believe in Jesus. I actually never doubt Mahomes, and when I do, whenever I watch a Chiefs game, I was like, whoever gets the ball first and scores first, I was like, wait till Mahomes gets the ball. I think Mahomes has a lot to do with it. Now, we've had trick plays in the past. And here's the deal. What is the deal with number 91 on defense? And what's the deal with McCole Hardman? Is he healthy? When is we going to get Buck Kicker back? You know, he's actually – it's not just about Kelsey all the time. We got Mahomes that likes to run it in himself, you know. Mm-hmm. Those referees, they didn't call – he missed that pick. He missed that pick on what's it called? On purpose. He knew that he was wrong. That was actually not intentional grounding. That was a fumble. Chris Jones, we looked at that play 3 times. He did sack the quarterback. Yep. But don't worry about it now. It's over with. We need defense to step up and be tougher. We need Travis Kelsey to fight for the ball, not just fight for the ball like Travis Kelsey, but we need some more offense guys to fight for the ball, make a touchdown like Travis Kelsey. Someone that's wide open and can give me the dang ball. I'm taking this and I'm running off like Travis Kelsey. I like people like that. Not just whoever's going to catch the ball. That's what our defense needs to catch. That defense can intercept the ball, get a touchdown.
Robinson.
Yeah,
DeMarcus Robinson, sure.
Intercept the ball. We need to intercept the ball. We need tackles. We need to get the quarterback. We need to come together and play a little bit tougher because we're going to have tough games, yeah. And it's going to be close games. But you know what? If you got Mahomes, you know, why worry if you got Jesus and you got real faith? But Kansas City needs to quit whining, you know, and we need to get on board. Travis Kelsey said he's got to be physical. You got to be physical out there. Whether it's right, left, or in the middle, we got to run forward. We got to have our running backs on pace. I'd rather Mahomes run the first down and then throw the ball. You know, whenever it's third down, you give it right to Kelsey at the first down line of scrimmage because he goes over the line of scrimmage. I think Kelsey's might have broken Tony Gonzalez's record, but he broke a lot of records tonight. Mm-hmm. But I think that what about? It's not always about him. It's about McCole Hardman when he was running 2 years ago from one end zone to the other end zone when I was at the game. He looked at me and he ran all the way from one end zone to the other end zone and said yes. I said, we're going to make a touchdown, and he did it. So you got to believe in just the whole team. It's not always about one player, but we also got to have defense hope. We got to make sure that our defense is watching too. We got to play number 91 a lot more. We got to get 4th downs. We can't let them run right past us like we did today. We got to get better on defense. It's not always an offense thing. It's a defense thing. We always have to have a sack. So Big Mac's tomorrow. But I'm just saying it's not about that. It's about intercepting the ball, getting our chance to get the ball to help win the game. It's not just on offense. We got to have defense tougher. We got to be tougher. We got to show more toughness on defense.
Raymond, I appreciate you very much, my friend. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the perspective. Amen, sir. That's so a couple of things. I mentioned 91 a couple of times being Derek Nottie. You know, as that interior defensive line is rotated through, I do not know. I saw a couple tweets about Nottie getting moved in the running game. It's very hard to judge interior trench play on the broadcast, so we'll see how that all comes together when we get a closer look at it. But he's been getting worked through with Tershawn Wharton, who again has torn his ACL. He will be out for the remainder of the year. Colin Saunders has gotten a lot more work. So you know, to see how that rotation comes together, we'll see. And then, yeah, McCole Hardman had a great play, came up hurting and maybe re-aggravating his heel, then was back in the game again a couple plays later, had a target later as well. So he's still clearly not 100%, but was able to make some impacts while he needs to continue to get healthy as well. Next up, we'll go to Jared. Jared, you're on Sports Radio 810. What's up, Jared?
Hey, what's going on? How you guys?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Hold on one second. I just want to say good win by the Chiefs tonight. Those officials were terrible. But, hey, we put it out, and we'll take a win-to-win, and just want to say go Chiefs, and let's go get Buffalo Sunday. Appreciate it, guys.
Jared, I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you very much for listening and for calling in. Yeah, it is going to be very interesting to see how this all ends up evolving into this Bills game. I haven't looked to see what the lines are, just to see how those have moved. But I bet the Chiefs probably stay a home underdog, which is a very, very uncomfortable place and an unfamiliar place for them to be. Next up, we got Tony. Tony on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Josh. My brain is kind of scrambled via Raymond call a little bit ago, and then also the passing posture.
Passing posture.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. How can you be in a passing posture if your body is being pulled to the ground via gravity and you don't have the ball anymore? But that's really interesting to me, and I don't even know what that is. But the thing that's frustrating is it seems like we need a jury and some elite New York City law firms to adjudicate these calls anymore, and that's very frustrating to the average fan like myself.
Yeah.
But beyond that, one of the things that I wanted to say was this team, it's very frustrating as a fan sometimes to come into a game and expect them to play very well. And, hey, it's 17 weeks. You can't play well every game. But this team, since Patrick has been there, since Andy Reid, there's no deficit that's insurmountable. And they have an ability to take a hit, overcome adversity, and then believe in themselves and seize a game, a loss, from the jaws of defeat. And that's very comforting. This team never believes that they're out of it. This team never believes that they're done, that they're on the mat. They always get up and they come back at you. And I do think that the injection and infusion of younger players, of new receivers and things, has really revitalized the roster in terms of there's a collective sense, at least from my perspective, that, hey, there's something exciting about these games. There's something, we're not out of it. We're going to find a way. And I'm not saying that that's not the case. Last year against Buffalo, 13 seconds left.
Sure.
But I really like the hungriness that I see. And one more thing, I will say that one of the most appreciated plays of the game was I was really down when we had to punt the ball, and Tommy Townsend didn't punt it to the back of the frickin' end zone like a lot of punters would do, downed it inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
And that ended up being huge in terms of the calculus of the game. So I'll listen off there. Thanks.
Well, Tony, stay on the line for me here real quick because, Tony's gone. Beards, how do you want to play this? You're the producer extraordinaire. Do you want to see if Tony can call back in, or you want to say, hey, Tony, you missed the beef? Tony was too. Here's the thing. Tony hung up to be courteous to open up a phone line. If we can get Tony back in, let me say all this first, because we get to give a great gift every week here on this show to a particular caller calling from the area who makes some really good points. And tonight, that's Tony, who is our caller of the game, brought to you by Greengrass Cattle Company. I love talking about Greengrass Cattle Company because I have been there now. I have fed these cows with my hands to the best of my ability. I have been in the little holding mechanism that they use to get them up on all of their health checks and everything. I cannot possibly tell you enough good things about Greengrass Cattle Co. in a way that would prevent this show from just being about Greengrass Cattle Company. So say to visit them online at greengrasscattleco.com. You can visit their store in Weston, Missouri, off 45 Highway, less than a mile from the ranch. Order online at greengrasscattleco.com, and they'll deliver right to your door. It is an incredible operation, both in how they treat the animals, how they ultimately turn it into incredible, super high-quality beef for you. You will not get better beef anywhere in the world as far as I'm concerned. I have had a selection of samplings from Greengrass. Every bit of it has been tremendous. And again, being able to be out there for the whole experience was just tremendous. So shout out to Tony for getting the dub today of the caller of the game. Shout out to Greengrass Cattle Co. for being truly the best at every level. Big fan of Greengrass Cattle Company. I'm sure you will be a big fan as well. We need to take another quick timeout. If you're on hold now, we will take some calls on the other side of the break. We still need to bring you Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. We got locker room audio from Chris Jones, maybe even more beyond that, plus Matt Derrick. There's a lot more to do in a very late evening here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by CBD American Shaman. More good news here as well. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Their score is your percent off. They put up 30 tonight, so you get 30% off all day tomorrow on orders of $100 or more at CBD American Shaman, where life is better with the feather.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Are you suffering from hair loss, bald spots, receding hairlines? There's a new solution for men and women that uses regenerative medicine to stimulate hair follicles and give you thicker, fuller hair with no surgery. This remarkable treatment is now available here from the regenerative specialists at QC Kinetics. That's right, the same protocols that help relieve joint pain can be used to give new life to dormant hair follicles. QC Kinetics medical professionals can use growth factors from your own body, concentrated and applied to your scalp, restoring hair follicles, preventing further loss, and increasing hair growth. Imagine thicker, fuller hair with no expensive surgery and no downtime. So if you're losing your hair due to aging, pattern baldness, or a medical condition, call now to learn more about exciting natural biologic treatments, regenerative medicine that can stimulate those dormant hair follicles. Get your hair growing naturally again. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
It's me, Nick. You've seen him on Netflix's Comedians of the World. Now see him live. Nick Swartzen.
I don't know the last time you've been swimming. It's hard. It's always way harder than I remember. I can swim maybe across a hot tub.
Nick Swartzen, Make Joke from Face Tour. Saturday, January 28th, the Uptown Theater. Buy your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and the Uptown Theater box office. Don't miss Nick Swartzen.
Tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs and Las Vegas Raiders renew their rivalry in prime time. We'll be live immediately after the game right here with the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by CBD American Shaman. We'll break down all the action, take your calls, bring you the press conferences from Arrowhead, and break down all the action and what it all means for the future of the AFC West. It all begins immediately after Chiefs Raiders right here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by CBD American Shaman.
It's time to take the whole family straight to Andy's Frozen Custard. They have this incredible new s'mores jackhammer. Amazing fresh vanilla frozen custard blended with chocolatey melted hot fudge and the crunchiest, crumbliest graham crackers. Andy's Frozen Custard, the world's finest. It's the best way to top your day with a smile.
Score big with Xfinity Internet. It's made to do anything, so you can do anything. Supercharge your home with the game-changing speed of supersonic Wi-Fi. With 3 times more bandwidth, it covers the field and then some, and blocks billions of threats with advanced security that helps keep you protected at home and on the go. If you're keeping score, that's internet that does it all. That's unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas.
Frank Bowl here from my friends at CBD American Shaman. You've heard me talk about my experience with CBD products. If you struggle with pain, anxiety, sleep, or lack of energy, visit your local CBD American Shaman about the benefits of high-quality hemp oil. And if Kansas City scores big, you score big discounts. Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off. 50% off your order of $100 or more the day after the game. Only at CBD American Shaman. Life is better with a feather.
Boxing fans, Saturday night, October 22nd in Kansas City at Memorial Hall. Triller Fight Club presents Lineage of Greatness 2, featuring Kenzie TCB Morrison, Jose Luis Castillo Jr., Roberto Duran Jr., and Steve Cunningham Jr. Tickets for Lineage of Greatness 2 start at $35 and are now on sale through Eventbrite. Lineage of Greatness 2, Saturday, October 22nd at Memorial Hall. Live boxing in Kansas City. Be there.
In the pursuit of our passions, there's no finish line. For those who chase new adventures, bigger goals, unforgettable moments, once-in-a-lifetime trophies, Bushnell innovates the widest range of products for you. Because just like you, we are built for the pursuit. Whether you're on the way to or from the game or listening from the road, it's important to remember driving impaired can change everything in an instant. It's time to show me Zero Driving Missouri to safer roads. Brought to you by the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety and SaveMoLives.com.
Everyone knows Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. Did you know it's also time to save hundreds, even thousands on patio furniture, pool tables, shuffleboard, and more? You can beef up your entertainment area with couches, sectionals, and theater seating now on sale at Family Leisure. Make it a September to remember with special 810 listener pricing at Family Leisure. Spas, basketball goals, play sets, trampolines, everything for family and fun together on sale at Family Leisure. K10 in Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727.
WHB Kansas City.
Here is the shotgun snap on second down and goal. Backpedals, looks left, no, looks right. Now throws a line drive, falling down, goal line catch on the goal line. Edwards-Helaire, touchdown, Kansas City. It's a laser thrown low and falling down. The running back, Edwards-Helaire. 7-yard touchdown completion, and the Chiefs are on the board for the first time deep in the second quarter. They are reviewing it. I don't know that he's in. In fact, I know he's not in because his backside hits before the ball is crossed, and your butt is worth 2 feet. One cheek is worth 2 feet.
Hey, yeah, whatever you say. One cheek, 2 feet.
Leaning over Mahomes, arms extended, has a receiver in motion. Shotgun snap, goes back 5, has time, line drive, back of the end zone, caught. Kelsey, touchdown. Kelsey caught it almost underneath the crossbar as he was traveling on the back of the end zone, caught that helmet high pass, a 1-yard touchdown throw, and the Chiefs are finally on the board.
Doesn't get better than Travis Kelsey. It doesn't get better than Kevin Harlan. It doesn't get better than Bickamer Electric. That's our electric play of the game, brought to you by Bickamer Electric. From small jobs to big jobs, the Bickamer team knows how to take care of your commercial and residential electric needs. Bickamer Electric. Truly an electric performance from Travis Kelsey and the rest of the Chiefs offense. Once things got going again over the course of the game, a lot, seriously, I know this is probably the lament that you could get from me most post-game shows, but I don't know how on earth we will possibly be able to get to everything discussable in this game. I'm doing my best to get through what we can. We will still hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Chris Jones from the locker room as well, plus Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. But 3 calls on the phones right now that I'd like to go ahead and get to before we get to the rest of the pressers. We'll start with Efren. Efren, you're on Sports Radio 810. What's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Great game tonight. Nervous the whole time, but I did want to bring up, nobody's brought up the play of Mckinnon tonight. He had some good runs. That false start at the end kind of hurt us a little bit, but, man, he ran hard today. Do you know what happened with Pacheco tonight? He was on my fantasy team, and I didn't see him at all, so got a big fat 0 from that guy. And then real quick on the refs, more than the sack that wasn't a sack, what about that no call, or that they had to talk about that intentional grounding call, man? I thought that was kind of obvious, and then they had to have a meeting about it. That was pretty crazy, but I'll listen off the air, man, but I appreciate it. Enjoy listening to you. I got a long drive to Wichita right now, so I'm enjoying the talk.
Well, I appreciate that. Enjoy the drive to Wichita. Be safe. I know there's not a whole ton of incredible scenery, especially over the evening. So stay awake, stay safe. Hopefully we'll bring you some energy for the drive. Good questions across the board. First of all, on the grounding, I was just staring/screaming at the TV, wondering when that was going to get called. But I don't trust the NFL to make intentional grounding calls anymore. I just feel like I don't see them very often, despite them still happening very often. It's very strange. But yeah, I was on the edge of my seat waiting for that one as well. Mckinnon, absolutely an excellent game, both on the ground and also in pass protection. That's just where they trust him more than anybody else on this roster. That's my best bet in terms of the answer to Pacheco question as well. Where was Isaiah Pacheco tonight? He was out there every once in a while. I saw him on the field a couple of times, but my guess is that ultimately they trust Clyde on first and second downs the most, and McKinnon's the guy they trust whenever they need to keep number 15 upright, particularly in this game. Just thinking out loud here. You have your tackles struggling just to keep the pass rushers in front of them. It's a good duo between Chandler Jones and Max Crosby that were giving Orlando Brown Jr. and Andrew Wiley a lot to handle, particularly in that first half. So I think you put McKinnon out there as the guy you trust a little more to help keep 15 clean. So that's my assumption of how all that came together, and McKinnon did quite a bit with that opportunity. Next up, we've got Brad here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Brad, what's up?
Hi, Josh. How you doing?
Good.
I was just calling. I wasn't a huge fan of necessarily our play calling on the last drive there, trying to get the first down and necessarily our confidence in the defense to stop him at the end there. I was just curious on your thoughts, and I'll listen on the air, let the show.
Brad, I appreciate that. That also right there is the reason that I do enjoy still having calls of getting to not only hear from you, but also have you. The last two calls, like, hey, mention Jerick McKinnon and the play calling at the end. Oh, yeah, thank you, callers, because those were things that I was thinking about in real time. And then now we're here, how long into the show are we, Beards? How long have we been live? When did we go live? Time is a flat circle.
About 2 hours.
We're 2 hours into the show, and I'm not sure I've mentioned Jerick McKinnon or that play calling, which I was tweeting about live as we go. So I appreciate it when you guys call in and mention something we haven't mentioned yet. Because, I did not care for it one bit. Thank you, Brad. I didn't love it. You get a shot play on third and 3, where Mahomes goes to McCole Hardman. It's 3rd and 3. Obviously, you'd like to keep the clock running. I did not want the Chiefs to come out in the traditional 4-minute offense and just hand it off over and over, but you have Mahomes to Sky Moore for the first time in the game. He gets you close to the first down marker. Then you convert that first down with Clyde. But then after that, you get to 3rd and 3, and Clyde gets stuffed trying to convert it there on 2nd and 3, if I've got all my math right. But then you have that sort of deeper shot to Hardman where, look, there are a lot of different places this could have happened this way. I don't know if Hardman took the wrong angle. It seems like that happens every once in a while. I don't know if maybe Mahomes just didn't drop the ball exactly where he wanted to. Playing quarterback is very difficult. I also don't know if the aforementioned McCole Hardman heel, which I assume is what he re-aggravated on that one play where he looked like he was going through it. He said previously it was really a pain tolerance thing and kind of just affects you in weird ways. So if that was the case, I don't know about taking a shot to the guy that has been very recently seen grimacing on the sideline because of something going on in his foot. It's not the play that I would have made there. I would rather have a more high percentage play that gives Patrick Mahomes more options. Ideally, options that also include his ability to tuck it and scramble for a few. He's elite at that. Not elite like in Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson ways, but in terms of getting a crease and then getting to the marker. I would have rather seen Mahomes roll out there towards some more passing options, towards an option that would have him have an opportunity to see what the angle would have been to the sticks, and then just try to keep it moving there. Plus, also, if you keep the ball on the ground, maybe you only get a couple of yards. Well, now you're talking about 4th and inches for a gain that could have essentially won the game right there, instead of giving the ball back to the Raiders, who got very, very close to getting within striking distance, within field goal distance, to make that game a Raiders win. That was not a call that I enjoyed, both in the play calling at the end or in the Chiefs' decision to punt that, frankly. It worked out okay. The field position ended up getting them there, but if you have an opportunity to end the game with the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, I'll take that more often than not. So, yeah, absolutely a great point to look back at that and try to figure out where exactly the Chiefs made their money in this game and where they almost came up short. This is one of those games that, look, the result gives us a lot of wiggle room in how we discuss all of this, but this really could have, on a knife's edge, fallen either way for either of these teams. You have a collision amongst Raiders receivers on the last play of the game. You have offenses that are nearly there on multiple occasions. This is just... I don't know that this game should change your opinion of the Chiefs in a positive way. I haven't looked to see if the line moved for Chiefs-Bills. Not the most important thing in the world, but I would be sort of curious just as an indicator of what this game meant for evaluators. because as of right now, I don't know if the Chiefs are any different than they were 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. But I do know they have one more victory, which is the thing that most immediately matters. And frankly, and DJ, I will not forget to get to you here before we move on to anything else. I will not let you fall asleep, DJ. Hold on for me just a second. And then we'll also get to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, etc. beyond that. But when we were looking at this schedule at the beginning of the season, at Cardinals was an advantage Chiefs game, but could have been a little bit of a toss-up before DeAndre Hopkins' suspension was known. Chargers, divisional game, good team, toss-up game. At the Colts, we're supposed to be the clear favorite on the road in the AFC South. That game was going to be tough. The Buccaneers, that game was supposed to be a loss in Tampa. I mean, that just, at the very least, is one of those another toss-up games. Then the Raiders at home before you get to the Bills. I don't want to be revisionist, and this is not the most important thing in terms of the evaluation, but I think every single one of us would have been smart to say, I'll take the deal here, deal or no deal style. I'll hit the button and take the Chiefs being 4-1 entering this game against the Bills. Or frankly, how about this? Guarantee them being 4-2 after the Bills game. Not knowing who's where, right? You wouldn't take that right now, obviously. But if you said, hey, week 6 is going to get here, because we did this all the time, and I think this is actually the math that I did. Week 6 will get here, and then the Chiefs get the Niners, Titans, Jags, back to back to back. Those should all be victories. The Niners' defense is good, but they're banged up like crazy right now. If the Chiefs lose to the Bills and then win 3 more in a row, Niners, Titans, and Jags, they then go to the Chargers at 7-2. That is dominating this division if they make 7-2 happen. They absolutely could beat the Bills next week. I am not writing that game off. I'm just saying worst case scenario right now is still really good stuff for the Chiefs. It's an impressive stretch in a league where you just don't get that many easy victories. It's why the Bucs game last week was such an anomaly. All right, one more call here for the night, and then we'll go back to pressers, and of course we'll talk to Matt Derrick shortly as well. But DJ, you are our closer here tonight, my friend. It feels only fitting. What's up, DJ?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm doing good. I ain't falling asleep this time. So
I appreciate you making it past midnight. This is a huge moment for us.
Hell, I feel like I'm 30 going on 75. They stressing me out, man. No, only thing I wanted to say, I really called in to say, you're doing great work, man, on here and the daytime radio. I listen to you all the time. I just don't call in as much. Yeah, y'all do a good job. Jason, they got me betting. So tomorrow, let them know that I'm going to call 1-800-BETS off because he got me on DraftKings so much. So, he done turned me into a gambler, and I swear I would never do it. He got me gambling too much. Tell Jason he owed me about $300 so far.
I will bring you the receipt tomorrow. I'm writing it down right now.
None of these parlays working for me, man, but honestly, man, I'm happy that they won. My issue is Orlando Brown. I know you probably already touched on it, but Orlando Brown is a scary sight, man. He cannot hold nobody in front of him that's faster than him.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. Orlando Brown is one of my issues, and you don't got to really elaborate. You already talked about it earlier. Like I said, I've been drinking a little bit, so I'm all right. But Orlando Brown, and then the second thing is adjustments. Why wouldn't they double team Devontae Adams? He's the only person killing us.
Yeah. I'll talk about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Jalen Watson is good, man, but he cannot hold nobody in man coverage yet. He's going to take some time. I just want to say what's up, man. You have a good night, JB.
I appreciate you, DJ. It's always good to hear from you, my friend. And I'm with you on both those things here. One is that they did eventually adjust both for Orlando Brown and for the secondary, I believe, where you got a little more help for both of the tackles as they were having their hands full with the Raiders pass rush and then also with Devontae Adams. But yeah, no, you can't leave anybody on an island with Devontae Adams. It's just a losing battle for pretty much anybody. No shame in that. And then on Orlando Brown, I don't know why I just feel like I want to reel back the critique. Not the critique. Critique is fair. I want to reel back the mob a tiny bit on Orlando Brown for a couple things. One, though, look, DJ's right. If someone's faster than Orlando Brown, they will beat him to the outside. Frankly, that's a part of the deal with him.
We kind of knew that last year, though.
That's
didn't we?
right. That we
Wasn't
knew
it
that
the Titans game that was really bad.
The Ravens knew that. We knew that when the Chiefs traded for him. Speed would beat him to the outside, but
it was like very really apparent. I think it was the Titans game where they just had some guy
that
on
might
that side
be.
that just flew by him every time.
I couldn't tell you for money on where that came up most last year, but that was sort of a part of the package where, hey, look, if you've got elite speed, that's going to be a place where you're going to be able to beat Orlando Brown on the outside. But to quote my dear friend Seth Kaiser, you want to die a slow death as an offensive tackle. If you're dying a slow death to a speed rusher on the outside, that gives Mahomes a couple options. One is he can flush out to his right and just get away from all that, or he can float back left because you've run the defensive tackle behind him. That was a part of the growing pains last year that we talked about a ton, is Mahomes stepping up so Brown can flush around the back. Orlando Brown cannot lose inside. He cannot lose to power. Those are matchups he needs to win pretty much every rep. That's a tough thing to do. I wonder about his health at the moment, and I wonder about his quickness, both not as an excuse, but as a legitimate question of like, hey, is he going to be quick enough on that edge to be a top 15 tackle, to be an above-average starting left tackle? Somebody earlier said, hey, this is going to be his last year in Kansas City. I'm not as willing to drop the hammer on that at this point in the season, not even just because of the health thing, although I do think that's part of it. They're going to have another franchise tag, and I really do know how this is going to sound. Like, I know there are people right now punching air in their cars, so please, I know what I'm saying. When you watch a team with a really bad tackle situation, it makes the game hard to watch. You have to have somebody tall enough to ride the ride. And Orlando Brown is that. Orlando Brown is not Trent Williams. And part of the appeal also is that he's still pretty young. As the end of his rookie contract, there should still be room for him to improve. That's what makes this season frustrating, is because I think to this point he's probably been a little worse than he was last year, which again is probably injury related, but that might not explain the entirety of it all. Here's the good news, and this is really where I come by my sort of big picture take on Orlando Brown for right now. There is absolutely no chance whatsoever that they are going to bench him for Prince Tega Winogo or anybody else. They're not moving him to right tackle or any of that, right? Like, he's the left tackle for this season, okay? Period. Point out when he makes a mistake or whatever. That I'm not saying you can't criticize him. But you do not have to worry about that position through the rest of this year in terms of who's it going to be. I think that this season, much as the way as this goes for young quarterbacks around the league, I think the rest of this season is partially for evaluating Orlando Brown Jr. Let's see who he is in January. I'm not telling you that I'm buying stock or selling it. I think right now the Chiefs fan internal view is probably a little lower than he's actually been, but he hasn't been very good. I'm just saying you do not have to beat the rest of the world to judgment in October. I will be curious to see what he looks like later in the year. It could be better, it could be worse, it could be exactly the same. I'm just hitting snooze on the judgment right now before I'm willing to say, hey, we know exactly who this dude is. And if we do know right now, he's still got to finish out this year, and then the Chiefs still have to figure out their long-term plan there. So it's frustrating because so much of this offseason ended up being about Orlando Brown and figuring out what his role was going to be. You also heard Travis Kelsey talk about him a lot within the huddle and the locker room and everything. We give guys a lot of credit for that when they're playing well. We don't give them as much credit for that when they're not playing well. I also think that's reasonable. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the temperature of the Orlando Brown Jr. conversation. I think it's a very interesting one, and one that we will not have enough information for until let's try again in a week or two. Let's check in at the halfway point and see where we end up on that front. But I'm not fully willing to hit the panic button, partially because I don't think that'd do you any good. Beards, you told me in my headset here, the crowd noise here is just unbeatable sometimes. So I'm not sure if you think we could play Andy Reid right now, or if you'd like to take a little time out and then play Andy Reid.
We can do it now.
Well, let's do that. we might as well. We're all here together. Let's just do all of that. Let's play. We'll get to Andy Reid. Of course, there is some injury news, both of the serious sort with Tershawn Wharton and in the up in the air sort. A lot to sort through here from Andy Reid and what certainly was a very busy post-game press conference brought to you by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com.
Let's start here with, Beards, here's what I've realized. I don't even have the document open on my side, so I imagine that we're starting with Andy Reid's open. I'll be back on the rails for play number 2, but I forgot to script my first 15 tonight. Andy Reid, of course, did not.
As far as the injuries go, Wharton tore his ACL, his left knee. Cook had a concussion. Clark was sick. Lammons hurt his right hip, came out, and Fenton had cramps, came out. Listen, what a good win. What a good win to get against a rival. Josh has done a phenomenal job. They were the Raiders. They played us very tough. Our crowd was tremendous tonight, digging in for 4 quarters with us and hanging right there. As far as players that stood out, listen, our D-line, we had to reach down deep at the D-line, and Colin Saunders played a heck of a game. Herring played a nice game, stepping in. He got a ton of snaps. Bolton was off the chart. Bolton was off the charts with his tackle. I mean, it's going to be hard to find another guy in the league that tackles better than Bolton. I mean, he's unbelievable. And then Harris stepping in at the linebacker spot. I mean, I can keep going with that, but offensively, McCole just had some tough yards for us, man. Stepped up. They were trying to take Kelsey out of the game. He had 25 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's a pretty good day, but kind of a weird number. Marquez had some big plays for us. Juju Sky stepped up at the end, had some big catch and runs for us. Elgrady stepping in and doing a nice job at the guard spot for us. So, all in all, it was just, it was probably a tale of halves. We played a lot better the second half, or at least the second part of the second quarter there, and then through the second half than we did the first half. So, but it was a nice win to get for sure.
Every win's a nice win in the NFL. Some name drops for Colin Saunders, Malik Herring, and a few others there. Again, the big news for the injury front, Tershawn Wharton will be out for the year with torn ACL. A big loss both for him as a player. Oh, man, this might have been a contract year for him, too. That would be disappointing if that is the case. He's really had been excellent, was getting a ton of work. And his season ends here as he continues to, again, he was the second highest snapping defensive tackle for the Chiefs entering the game today. But Tershawn Wharton, and then potentially one of the guys on the practice squad, could eventually come up and fill that role. But no updates on the rest of the injuries there. We'll see if we get more information on them throughout the week. Or if we get a presser tomorrow. We'll bring you that as we always do on The Zone if we get audio from the Chiefs tomorrow. Next up from Andy Reid, yeah, of course, the question that he had to be asked about. It became a turning point of the game and also a turning point for Andy Reid's temper on the sidelines. Andy Reid's thoughts on the roughing the passer call against Chris Jones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought he had the ball, so I mean that's what I thought. But that's their job, so they do that.
Oh, that was it. All right, they do that. They also thought he had the ball. Well, didn't matter, according to Carl Jeffers. Andy Reid here on his emotions that clearly bubbled up on the sidelines after that call.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an emotional game. So what I thought wasn't right. So, but it is what it is.
Did you feel that sense, though? I don't know if it's the sort of thing you feel in the locker room at halftime, but there's some kind of energy coming out of that.
Yeah, I mean, the guys felt the same way I did. So, yeah, I think it gave us a little juice, probably.
A little juice, and it sounds like he's not trying to get fined out there. So there's Andy Reid.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it would be nice. What if Andy Reid just came out and just dropped some F-bombs, just really went in and really said it's some inexcusable stuff. So I imagine he would say in a very PG way. Well, look, a little extra juice, yeah, and they clearly seemed to take that into halftime. Reid was asked about his message to the team at the half.
The first drive I thought was good. They had coverage on us. The run game was just kind of going okay that first half, or at least the first quarter and part of the second quarter. But we felt like we could run a little bit more and yards there. So we started with that and then built in some pass and a quick game off of that.
And they did adjust some things. Beards, was that 4 or 5 over there? Because that sounded like maybe some game plan stuff there, less than the messaging. Is that which one are we on
that was number 4.
All right, well, let's try number 5. I imagine it's going to be pretty similar on the switches to the game plan at halftime.
And that it's that veteran, leadership that he brings to the table, and also being patient. So.
We'll work on our technical difficulties on this side. Beards, why don't we go ahead and just take a break? Why don't we take a break? We'll sort out our play sheet. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll talk to Matt Derrick. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes as well. We'll look. Sometimes you got to call a timeout. You got to get your plays right. Maybe we adjust some things at halftime. I think we're in our early fourth quarter, perhaps, here on the postgame show, but much more to talk about, much more to hear from the coach, the quarterback, Chris Jones, and the rest of the crew as well, all right here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB postgame show. I am Joshua Brisco, and it's all brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
When temperatures get extreme, with blistering cold and 10 degrees wind chill, it's game on with a Champion Momentum premium residential system, creating an indoor environment that operates at peak performance and keeps you in control right when you need it. Always leading, never compromising. Champion Heating and Cooling. Find a local dealer near you at championhomecomfort.com. Be sure to ask about our free 10-year parts and labor warranty and Champion's home indoor air quality products.
Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. Is your water causing skin issues or scale buildup on your fixtures? Does it taste or smell like chemicals? Let me tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. Culligan of Kansas City has been solving these issues for over 50 years. Contact me, Bob, at culligankansascity.com/Bob. That's culligankansascity.com/Bob. Let's talk about how to better your water. When you think of better water, think of Bob with Culligan Water.
Catch the Pick segment with Fat Jack every Thursday at 3 on the program all football season long. The guys and Jack will pick 5 games against the spread and give their opinions on how the games are going to play out. There will be bragging and trash talking, and you can join in as a guest picker. Listen weekly for your chance to appear with the guys on the program. Fat Jack has been a leading sports analyst for 27 years. His records are documented and recorded at fatjacksports.com.
We all have people we trust in our community, including our peers, friends, and family. When we trust someone, we have confidence in their honesty and integrity. At Freeman Health System, we believe our doctors, nurses, staff, and volunteers are all centered around you, joining your circle of healing, family, new life, care, and trust. Freeman Health System, your local hospital, joining your circle of trust.
Ready to change your life? Get a smile you'll love to the moon and back. Expert orthodontist Dr. Moon and his friendly team use the latest technology to make your journey fast, precise, and affordable. They invite patients of all ages to experience warm orthodontic care in a family-friendly atmosphere, serving all ages in Olathe and Overland Park while offering the latest technology in orthodontic care. It's Moon Orthodontics. Revolutionize your smile with a free consultation. Visit moonortho.com.
So what makes an orange smell like an orange? What gives a pine forest a scent so inviting that sometimes we spray it around our homes? Terpenes. Terpenes are nature's magical compounds that give every plant its own aromatic fingerprint. And in cannabis, they offer even more than that. If you want to learn how the right terpenes can take your cannabis experience to new heights, come to Relief Resources Dispensary on Saturday, October 15th for Terptoberfest. You'll learn how different cannabis strains with the same amount of THC but different terpenes have completely different effects. Learn how some terpenes may have potential benefits for certain mental health conditions, including anxiety and depression. Get your questions answered by patient care specialists, experts with over 600 medical cannabis products to choose from. It's all waiting for you at Terptoberfest, Saturday, October 15th from 10 to 5 at Relief Resources Dispensary in Grandview. Take 71 Highway to 140th Street. Home delivery is available too. Online at reliefmo.com.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank invites you to join the club with Sporting Checking. Show off your team's spirit at the match or on the go with the official Sporting Debit Card. Score big with access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app. Plus, enjoy 10% off in-person purchases at the Sporting Style store. So, you ready to join the club? Get started by visiting sportingchecking.com or any of our convenient Central Bank locations. Member FDIC.
In the gun, Mahomes looks at a five-man rush. Here they come. There's the snap. He moves left. He darts right. He cocks his arm. Throws a line drive. Caught by Kelsey. 10. Breaks a tackle at the 5. Through the hash mark. Breaks another tackle. Angles in. Touchdown! The Chiefs have grabbed the lead as Travis Kelsey has caught his third touchdown pass tonight. And this place is erupting.
An incredible night for Travis Kelsey, our play of the game, brought to you by Central Bank. For more, visit them online at centralbank.net. Simply could not be stopped. Number 87 to the tune of 25 receiving yards, right? Just 4 of them didn't go any further because they ended in the end zone. I am Joshua Brisco here with Beards McFly, Dylan Michaels, behind the scenes, bringing you Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and then eventually we'll hear from Matt Derrick and Chris Jones as well. So a lot to sort through here tonight. I think we could probably pick this up on the on Jerick McKinnon. Nope. Okay, Beards is giving me the shake off. So we will. You tell me where to go, Beards, and we will we'll sort through. If we go back to Andy Reid, we skip ahead to Patrick Mahomes. We'll move to the Mahomes front. Then we'll go to the quarterback. We'll circle back to Andy Reid in a little bit as well. Plus, Matt Derrick will join us later on. But as always, our Patrick Mahomes press conference is brought to you by Xfinity.
Patrick Mahomes press conference brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that?
Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns, all to Travis Kelsey. He was asked, of course, about the performance from his tight end, how the Raiders were handling it.
I don't think I realized until they played him like the screen. They played like that Kelsey video. But yeah, I knew when he caught the 4th one that it was the 4th one. I didn't realize he had like 7 catches, 4 touchdowns. But they had a good game plan of kind of that old New England, hit him off the line of scrimmage, double cover him and stuff like that. I thought the other guys responded and made some big plays happen, and that's what we needed to see out of our offense.
He was excellent in that role, and that was all with the Chiefs' offense starting out pretty slowly. Mahomes spoke about the slow start and how the Chiefs responded.
Yeah, I think there was anger of just kind of how we had played up until that point. I mean, I feel like they were the physical team. They brought the fight to us. But I thought our guys responded. And I was just talking with guys in the locker room. It was like sometimes these games are the ones that build the true character of the team. I mean, whenever you come out and they're kind of like throw that first punch and hit you, and how you respond and go back and fight, that was good to see from this team.
They turned it around pretty effectively there, too. And partially also, we finally talked about Jerick McKinnon a little bit out of the backfield. He had a big day.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 running backs, really 4, that can go out there and make plays happen. And I think you see every week it's kind of someone different. And Jet's a guy that's, he's been here. He has that attitude. He'll come down and pass block, run, whatever you want him to do, catch the ball in the backfield. And he kind of set it off where they got the sack and kind of backed us up again. And to run the ball, break tackles, carry people, it kind of got the momentum kind of going back in our favor to say, hey, we got to fight if we want to win this game.
They did, and they did both of those things, obviously, all with the Raiders having to come in with their game plan, which was effective early on, and then adjust. Here's what Mahomes saw from his vantage point.
I thought they just were more physical than we were. At the end of the day, they came out and they rushed the passer well. They ran the ball well, and those 2 things are how physical you are. And I kind of went up to the line. I said, hey, we're going to win or lose this game because of y'all. And they responded. They went out there and blocked their tail off the entire second half. And gave me time to make those throws downfield.
he did end up with more time in the back half of the game. I felt like that was pretty evident. Partially some adjustments I'm sure the Chiefs were making, partially some adjustments the Raiders had to make, but it was pretty consistent. Also consistent, Mahomes' ability to find Travis Kelsey as the play unfolds. Here's Mahomes on being able to find 87 later on in plays.
No, on the first one, it was actually Juju, and how the play turned out, Marquez kind of got pushed down a little bit, so I was going to throw it to Juju. I don't know if that was the first one. I was going to throw it to Juju, and then I ended up hitting him over the top in the back end line of the end zone. And then the shallow cross he catches, I mean, that was like a possession throw to make it third and manageable in the goal, and he takes it all the way back across the field. So sometimes he's the main guy, and sometimes I just go through my reads, and he gets himself open.
And it just seems like, that might be the most honest while also like somewhat obvious answer. Sometimes it's for Kelsey. Sometimes he just is there when it's time for the ball to leave his hands, and it's kind of always remarkable. Other pass catchers did step up in this game. A big night for Marquez Valdez-Scantling as well. Here's Mahomes on MVS, the other receivers who stepped up.
No, I mean, that was big time. I mean, we needed it. We needed guys like McCole, Marquez, Sky, Juju. We need those guys to step up in different games and make big plays, and today it was Marquez that was the big guy that made a lot of big plays happen. That's stuff that we're going to need because, I mean, obviously people know we're going to throw Travis the ball, so they're going to, in certain situations, they're going to double team him. And if we can show we can win with other guys, that'll kind of take that away, and then we can open up the entire offense.
I think there's something to that. That's kind of interesting just in terms of, again, how this whole offense can still flow if everybody's eyes go to Travis Kelsey. Who else could be there? It was Marquez Valdez-Scantling getting the lion's share of that work tonight. Again, this all starts after the Chiefs go down 17-0. Here's Mahomes on their response.
Yeah, to me it helps because you just don't know how guys are going to respond. I mean, we have a lot of the same players that have been in some deficit games, but at the same time we have a lot of new guys as well. And so for guys to respond and just to keep battling, no matter we're down 17 points, and show that we can fight back from anything, that's what you want to see out of any great football team.
They found a way to deliver it here tonight. Also, a lot of that came with some feistiness from number 15 himself. You saw some emotion from him after that fourth touchdown in particular. Here's what he had to say about showing some emotions in a rivalry game.
Yeah, no, I like to show my emotion when I play. That's kind of who I am. And I mean, I thought we needed it at that time as everybody to go out there and bring the fight back to them. And I think you saw that guys did that, and that's why we won the football game.
They did, and he does, and that's the recipe. Curious, of course, to hear what Mahomes thinks about the Chris Jones roughing the passer penalty that, frankly, I haven't seen any reports yet about Chris Jones being let out of Arrowhead in handcuffs. Seems like the only thing you could do after the way he so ferociously assaulted Derek Carr. Here's Mahomes on the Chris Jones roughing call heard around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the greatest call in the world, but at the same time, I mean, it's a hard job they have at refereeing, but obviously, I mean, whenever the ball comes out and that guy, I mean, he's going to try to get off of him, but they're both fighting for the ball at the same time. It's tough, but you have to find a way to bounce back, and we did.
They did bounce back, but what does Mahomes, a quarterback, you may remember, think about the roughing the passer rules themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's something where, I mean, obviously you want to protect the players and everything like that in all aspects of the game, but at the same time, there comes like a common sense factor where guys are trying to play football and try to win football games. And so whenever it's blatant and they do something dirty to try to hurt someone, you want to make sure that's called. But at the same time, you don't want it to affect the football game and change the outcome. And I'm sure the rest of they watch tape and they do this, they work and practice just like we do, so they'll go back and work on it and make the right corrections.
Here's my super big picture point that I'll just make at every turn. 60-something-year-old dude trying to just blind eye gauge all of this in real time is impossible. The reason we know why refs stink so much at this point is because we're getting to watch it in replay on HD. Now, like that one hold on Chris Jones, of course I saw it in real time, but even that I'm doing with a bird's eye view that these refs don't have. I'm not mad at referees. I am furious at the NFL for this being apparently the best system they have. That has to change. That is a shortcoming of the league. We've talked about some of the excellence of Marquez Valdez-Scantling in this game. Here's Mahomes on getting that timing down with MVS and the rest of his new pass catchers.
Yeah, this just comes with a lot of reps. Knowing that he's going to be ready for the ball right when he comes out of that break. and just giving them a chance. And that's stuff that I'm continuing to work with other guys. The corner route that threw the juju down at the red zone, same thing. It's like you just put it in the spot. He knows he's going to be there and make stuff happen. So that just comes with reps, and I'm sure those other guys will get involved as well the same way.
They've gotten involved, but I really do think that could be an opening up point for MVS in this offense, where he becomes sort of a possession receiver that has some stretch the field abilities. He's not just a deep shot guy, and I think that would really benefit the Chiefs offense as a whole. All those penalties we were just discussing, by the way, made Andy Reid's hat pop off like a cartoon character, just spin around above him. Not quite literally, but metaphorically speaking, I think that's pretty good. Patrick Mahomes was asked if he's ever seen Andy Reid quite that mad before.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him that angry, but not about a call on the football field. But if coach is pretty animated, he's a pretty even kill guy, so I not agreed with it. But it's like a hard job. It's hard for me to be out there, be kind of after the fact. But glad we won the football game, and it's not as big a deal as it could be.
That last sentence is the most true part of it all. Thank God that we didn't have to spend 3 hours talking about that roughing call. That would have been just infuriating. Yeah, Beards, it's after 12:30, so I'm just going to produce with you on air real quick because it's just something that you just said to me made me realize there's just a software thing happening over there probably, right? It just sounds like that it would make no sense for the audio itself to be jumpy like that. Is that just an issue with what happens when you hit spacebar?
No, I think we just had
the software in the computer.
An issue when we were editing it together, but
too much RAM, not enough RAM.
I will see if
the computer's older than you are.
Reid should be good. No, that is true.
Feel free to blame the computer.
I'll get Reid pulled up and see if that's still good.
All right, well, we'll circle back on that. Also, if you communicated with our dear friend Matt Derrick, beloved, hopefully I'm hoping that he's not waiting by his phone right now, just kicking his feet back and forth, waiting for the phone to ring.
I told him I'd be able to closer to 45.
Okay, very good. So let's, you know what, Beards? You know what we're showing right now? You, me, Dylan. You know what we're showing a lot of right now? Team resilience. And I would just love to hear Patrick Mahomes talk about being resilient as a team. Oh, we can't yet. Never mind. Sorry, I thought I had a segue. Didn't know that was a lost cause. Whenever we can, let's get the Mahomes clips across the finish line and just take it when we can get there, and then we'll circle back on Andy Reid. But, 12:30 on a 12:30 on a post game. Things happen sometimes. Bears just threw the microphone so far away from him that I'm not sure what that was about, but that makes me nervous. Beards is fully making sure that there's no microphone anywhere near him or Dylan. I'm afraid there might be a PG-13 conversation going on. Beards, I need you to keep your temper, okay? Put those headphones back on your ears so the steam stops coming out. Or keep them off so the steam doesn't get into the headphones. I guess it depends on your line of thinking. What are one of the 900 things I haven't gotten to talk about as much as probably deserved over the course of the show here tonight? I've been writing down notes from all of the calls to make sure that we circled back on a lot of those things. I've already given you my sort of thoughts on the quote-unquote analytics coming into all of this. I put that in air quotes, not because analytics aren't real, but because I think we've kind of lost the plot on the conversation. I saw Bill Simmons. God, let me see if I can just... Bill Simmons tweeted, in 2022, an NFL head coach would jump out a fourth-floor window because analytics say it's faster than taking the stairs. And look, man, if that's your take, you can just keep it to yourself so nobody knows that you don't really understand what you're talking about. Like, there's no shame in just being like, hey, I don't fully understand what's going on here. I'll take this from Cynthia Freeland, weekly guest on The Zone. She made this analogy with us on The Zone a couple of weeks ago, but it stands. Here from Cynthia. Bedtime analytics analogy. Let's see if this works. I use a map to get anywhere. I live in LA and traffic is a mess. Maybe you do too and can relate. I type in my destination and there are several options with different minute and mile routes that pop up. I look at them and decide if I want to optimize for minutes. I want to avoid scary turns. Why does Waze tell me to turn left near a massive intersection? I don't want to sweat it for 2 saved minutes. And 3, generally want to know my destination and the traffic looks fine, so I turn off the app. Places I'm more familiar with going, I do a lot of option number 3. Places I'm unfamiliar with, I do a blend of number 1 and number 2. The app is my analytics office. Does it mean it's always the best route? No. There are accidents or construction that make it look clear, etc. But the point is, I increase my likelihood of making the best decision for me. I also learn the ways that the app and the way that it measures is imperfect so I can get even better with my own decisions. I like this analogy very much. I think Cynthia made it very well in spoken form as well, if you want to go back and find that edition of The Zone over on the podcast page or whatever. But taking more information about things like winning percentage or your percentage angles and all of that, just getting more information is not a bad thing. If more information paralyzes you, that's a you problem. Unless it becomes so much information that it paralyzes everybody. That's not the case in football analytics, though. There's a lot of information being shut out. We've been talking about it in the Royals sense for a while around these parts, of how the Royals baseball ops needs to take that information that they already have and utilize it better. The Chiefs and the NFL in general need to take the information they have and utilize it as well as they possibly can. That's what it's about, taking your information, making informed decisions. As I said earlier, not every decision you don't understand or that doesn't make a ton of sense or just is risky or non-conventional, not every non-conventional decision is because there's some secret spreadsheet that said you have to do it or else you're fired. That's not how any of this works, and when people like Bill Simmons continue to, I think, just purposefully muddy up the whole conversation, it really undercuts the entire way we're talking about it. And again, I think it's more interesting to read about and study than it is to talk about, because it's not a very good vehicle for our usual just sort of Dunkarooskies. This coach is smart or this coach is an idiot, and therefore the conversation's over. It's not really how things typically actually unfold. I want to talk to Matt Derrick. I want to get through our last few Patrick Mahomes clips. And I want to get through our last few Andy Reid clips. And Beards, I want to know what you think is the best way to go about all of that. I'd love to just finish it out on the Mahomes
Which
front.
Mahomes one did we finish on?
I think we were going to get the team resilience. 13 on my sheet. Team resilience was next up because we're being a real resilient team. We're facing some adversity. I don't know if it's from the technology, if it's from just the moving parts or whatnot. But all good teams can be resilient through a little bit of adversity. That's true for us here tonight on the Sports Radio 810 WHB postgame show. Of course, it was true for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's the last 2 weeks, you've seen how the guys responded after a hard loss in Indianapolis. The guys responded against a great Bucs team, a great Bucs defense, and the GOAT at quarterback. And then you go into another game where you could have a letdown with a big game coming the next week and a division opponent getting down 17-0. You guys could have kind of folded and quit. The guys responded. They came back. We won a game. And now we'll have another test this next week. So I'm excited. We had a hard schedule, and it's going to build that grit and that toughness that I think we'll need as we get to the later part of the season.
They have been able to do that again, and we've seen some resilient wins. That Chargers game really could have gone either way. A lot of these games really could have. It's the NFL. That happens. You cannot be a pushover in the modern NFL, obviously, and the Chiefs have not been. That's going to matter come January. The halftime decision for the Chiefs was relatively straightforward, I kind of guess, but it was also sort of wild because Matthew Wright was the kicker back there. He had his ups and downs, but he had the longest kick in Arrowhead history. So Mahomes was asked about the decision to kick the field goal there instead of trying to take one deep shot when Matthew Wright came in clutch.
No, it wasn't about me going for it. I literally just asked Tobe. I said, can he kick a 59-yard field goal? It's a new kicker, so you don't know does it no or not. And so if it's Harrison, I'm probably just go out there and kick it. And so once we called the timeout and discussed it, Tobe said, I have confidence he can make it. And the kid went out there and kicked it. So, it's you trust in your coaches, and they decided to go with the field goal, and we executed and ended up winning us the football game.
He wasn't perfect by any means. This team needs Harrison Butker back. But Matthew Wright hit that kick. They end up winning this game without much wiggle room. There you go. Next, what was the? Are we good for the Max Crosby clip here? It's cool. So Max Crosby ended up in Patrick Mahomes' face. No penalty for taunting, or whatever. Which again, I think is good. I think fewer flags generally a good thing. Just it's an inconsistent thing. Here's Mahomes talking about Max Crosby and maybe a little extra motivation he got from the Raiders pass rusher.
Listen to both. Fire at the team, fire at myself. I feel like I didn't play great in the first. That sometimes you have to kind of create your own energy. And I kind of did that. And I think I'm a player, so I have a lot of respect for him. But sometimes you kind of use those things to kind of motivate yourself.
take what you can get. Mahomes was fired up. Both teams were fired up in this game. You get a Monday night barn burner. One of the things that you were concerned about early in the game, I'm sure, because I was concerned about it, was the performance of this Chiefs offensive line. Speaking of Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, etc. Mahomes was asked about challenging the O-line and how that O-line responded.
That was like in the second quarter. I mean, I think I was after that Chandler Jones kind of got around me. And I just challenged them. I was like, hey, we're going to win or lose this because of y'all. I mean, they're playing man coverage. We have to attack downfield, but you're going to have to protect. And they responded. You saw from like the end of the second quarter on, I mean, those guys kind of held those guys at bay, and those are some great pass rushers. So you like to see that out of a veteran offensive line now.
He's right, man. That's a pretty big challenge to give to your front line to say, hey, game's on you. We'll do whatever you give us time for. I think it was Mitch Schwartz who tweeted at some point, hey, protection beats coverage. And the Chiefs had a couple of instances where there was a pocket for Mahomes. It just took a little while. The O-line brought it together. Last thing here from Mahomes, how did this team adjust to that Raiders' initial game plan to have a more successful back half of the game?
Yeah, I think we just back to the plays that we're going to have success. I mean, we had a game plan in for certain defenses, and they came out with different ones. And so that's like that old New England way. We're in that Patrick Graham, and he always throws you a different pitch. It's never going to be exactly what you see. But we've played those guys a lot now, so we understand, and it's cool to see because we were running plays that we necessarily didn't really run at practice, and we went back into the toolbox, and when the guys knew how to do it, and with a lot of new receivers, that can be kind of testy sometimes. And so I was proud of those guys and how they responded and made plays happen in the second half.
They did make the plays happen. That was the turnaround, the adjustment that they needed. Ultimately, the Chiefs become 30-29 victors in the game. We'll go back to Chiefs head coach Andy Reid now. We mentioned briefly the decision to go for two there late in the game to try to make it a 9-point advantage for the Chiefs. Here's what Andy Reid said about the math going into that and why he made that call.
Well, I thought it was the right thing to do. I would have liked to have completed it, but we didn't get that done. I thought it was important. I mean, points were important, period, but I thought going for two was important.
Yeah, I mean, so the play there is if you get up by 2 possessions in a 9-point game, I mean, you are now suddenly making this a long shot situation. Being up 8 would have meant they needed a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, which the Raiders ended up going for anyway. So I think Andy Reid was in the right to go for 2 there. I was a little surprised, but I was happy about it. I was surprised when the Raiders went for 2, but okay with it ultimately. Obviously, the decision worked out in the Chiefs' favor when they were able to stop Josh Jacobs short there. But just an interesting handful of small decisions that I think we should get more normalized and get more used to because that's sort of just how this is going to evolve, I think, in the sport. Andy Reid also was asked about the reffing call one more time. He's not letting you take his money.
You guys are trying to get me fined. I'm not going to bite. I'm not going there. I mean, I can't. I got it off my chest, and he got it off his chest. So he made the call he made, and I got what I needed said.
I actually think that might be the most honest chunk of it there, which is that he got what he needed to say said. If that turned into a friendlier whistle the rest of the game, if that just was him putting in his input at the time, whatever it was, he said what he needed to say. I think that's kind of a funny little tidbit of an NFL head coach. Here also, the rule more generally, could there be changes to the way the NFL handles roughing the passer?
Yeah, listen, I'm into the league. I'm on a couple committees there, and I understand protecting the quarterback. That's important. It is important. There's a fine line, right? I mean, we've just got to sort that out. But these guys, I mean, they work their butt off to do a good job for us out here, and and the league spends time doing it and looking at it, and so. But sometimes there's a point where you got to let guys play, and we've just got to find where that happy medium is.
They do, and again, I don't challenge that the NFL, the refs are doing what they can. The NFL is not putting them in a position to succeed. Viewers have more information than the referees do because of slow-mo, because of the cameras, because of the angles. That's an NFL problem more than it's an individual referee problem. But I don't know that the NFL is going to fix it because that's been true for years now. From Reid again here, one more on the roughing and the explanation he got from the referees.
He said that no, it was the weight that he put on the quarterback. That he slammed his weight on the quarterback's body.
He had the ball, and he went down, and Derek Carr was under him, and I'm over it. That's all I got. I don't know. It's a bad call. Last one from Reid here on Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, no, they work so well together, and how they play off of each other, I think, is big. That doesn't always happen in this league, where you find a guy that you have that mojo with, or whatever you want to term it. So
it's an incredible thing that duo has, and also an incredible thing for a head coach to have, and an incredible head coach for that duo to have. Truly a symbiotic relationship in every sense of the word. I like to think our relationship with Matt Derrick is symbiotic as well. We'll let him be the judge of that on the other side of the break. I'm Joshua Brisco here with Beards McFly, Dylan Michaels, bringing you the production and bringing you the Sports Radio 810 WHB postgame show presented by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local Shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, Neighborly 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
What an exciting season Kansas City football is having already. Our boys are breaking records and taking names. Casey is showing us how to have fun while working hard. This new team reminds me of my hardworking friends at Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. No matter what's going on in the world, they're always prepared. Helping you find the best deals on trucks, SUVs, and pretty much any vehicle you want is always their goal. Get up to 0% APR on select vehicles and $1,000 allowances and extra truck accessories. My favorite reason to choose Roberts Robinson is the lifetime warranty on all new vehicles. We know you're going to drive that truck long, so don't pay for costly repairs. Before you go anywhere else, get that lifetime warranty and check out their inventory of vehicles ready to sell today. Go to robertsrobinson.com or Facebook Roberts Robinson. And like always, tell them that Grunny sent ya.
Besame Wellness is all about making medical marijuana convenient for the community. That's why you'll find award-winning customer service from friendly bud tenders who are experts on their carefully curated line of products. And now they even offer a handy app providing easy access to online ordering for pickup or home delivery right to your door. Visit BesameWellness.com, download the Besame app, or experience the best this industry has to offer at one of their 5 metro area locations. Besame Wellness, where cannabis meets hospitality.
Sports Radio 810 WHB and Chicken and Pickle present the 2nd annual Kansas City Pickleball Championship. Join us October 20th at Chicken and Pickle, as we'll have 3 levels of competition for beginners, intermediate, and experts, plus a celebrity exhibition tournament and a party from 4 to 6. Head to 810WHB.com/pickleball to register now. Don't miss out. Only a limited number of teams are available in each division. Head to 810WHB.com/pickleball to register now.
Our Farm Distilling Company, a new farm distillery located in Mound City, Missouri. The R Farm family are 4th-generation farmers producing bourbon, rye whiskey, and other signature spirits from grains grown on their farm. Open Thursday through Saturday. Visit the distillery for a tour of the farm by walking the fields, production facility, and learn the process on how they make all their bourbon, whiskey, and white spirits. Take a trip in for a guided tasting flight, specialty cocktails, and homemade desserts. Our Farm Distillery, located in Mound City, Missouri, and join them October 8th for their Harvest Fest event at the distillery for all the fall fun activities.
Boxing fans, Saturday night, October 22nd in Kansas City at Memorial Hall. Triller Fight Club presents Lineage of Greatness 2, featuring Kenzie TCB Morrison, Jose Luis Castillo Jr., Roberto Duran Jr., and Steve Cunningham Jr. Tickets for Lineage of Greatness 2 start at $35 and are now on sale through Eventbrite. Lineage of Greatness 2, Saturday, October 22nd at Memorial Hall. Live boxing in Kansas City. Be there.
Chiefs 3rd and goal from the 4 of the Raiders. McKinnon is in. Shotgun formation, receivers bunched in tight. Shotgun snap, the fake handoff. They rush 5 and a line drive throw. Caught, belt high, goal line, touchdown, Kelsey. Caught it and spun. Grabbed the ball against his belt buckle, a 4-yard touchdown pass. And Travis Kelsey has caught his second touchdown tonight. And the Chiefs are back in business now, down 20-16 after being down by 17 points earlier on.
We've played so many Travis Kelsey touchdown calls that if Beards wanted to just go ahead and mix in one that we'd already played earlier, I'm not sure I would have caught it.
I had to make sure I was playing one we hadn't played before.
Because there were 4 of them. That's a heck of a day for Travis Kelsey, really elevating the entirety of this Kansas City Chiefs offense, this Kansas City Chiefs team. I just wish there was a way you could elevate the beef you're eating. Oh, good news. There certainly is. With our friends at Greengrass Cattle Company. It's all brought to you by Greengrass Cattle Co. Visit their store in Western Missouri off 45 Highway, less than a mile from the ranch, or order online at greengrasscattleco.com. That's greengrasscattleco.com, and they'll deliver right to your door. Me and Beards went out to the ranch. What was that? A week and change ago now.
A couple weeks
ago, and got to feed the cows, see the ranch, enjoy that whole process. Be up there at the crack of dawn, feeling like a cowboy on a steel horse I rode. It was technically a small little tractor, but I had to drive it for a little bit, and most of the food for the cows got into the trough. No spoiler alerts for whenever that hits your social media feeds and the 810 socials. But they do great work out there at Greengrass Cattle Co. I've talked about them every week this season, and could not recommend them highly enough for their process and for their product. They are truly beyond the pale. greengrasscattleco.com to place an order or go visit their store, locally owned and operated in Weston, Missouri. Speaking of an absolute prime cut, Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest joins us right now. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick, both for feedback on the questionable elections going on in Fat Bear Week and for the questionable games being played at Arrowhead Stadium. Matt, just how are you doing? How are you feeling right now? Sorry that it's 1 a.m.
Hey, I'm on the penthouse suite sofa with the ottoman with my... Could not be in a better position than I am right now, Joshua.
Good. Okay, very good. Well, I'm glad that you... I was looking to see if I had any other pictures for you after you complained about what your contact photo of is on my phone when I tweeted that out. And the only other pictures that I had that I could find from you was one of the of that exact situation. I believe what you're sitting in right now at Arrowhead. Just sort of that whole setup. So still just your previous headshot. If you have any other suggestions, I can work one in.
You know what? After we get done here, I am going to send you a picture of me lounging on the sofa.
Please do that. That would bring me so much joy. Ideally, have someone else take it so you can really get the full beauty in. But whatever works, I'd love for you to go ask, Herbie to take a picture of you lounged out over a sofa. I think he'd really appreciate that. But however you make that happen, I look forward to it. As much as I looked forward to this game tonight, I very, very quickly was ready to throw it all away. What was the thinking in the press box at 17-0?
At 17-0, I will not dispute that there were a couple of I think white flags being raised at that point. There were some. I won't doubt anybody. That's not cool. I won't drop any dimes. That's not my limit because, as we know, 24-0 is at least the very, very minimum before you even start to think about anything like that. With Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, but it was a little dark. But I didn't write him off because it's Mahomes.
Yeah. And it's also apparently Travis Kelsey, who can actually put up a stat line that I'm going to pull it up, but I'm pretty sure I've got it committed to memory, of 7 catches, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns. I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
It's very special. I mean, it's really hard to do. And he couldn't have done it without the Raiders because, I mean, the Raiders did a fantastic job of locking him down in the middle of the field. I mean, there was nothing for Travis Kelsey in the middle of the field to do. And then for some reason, when they got to the goal line, the Raiders decided to pretend that Travis Kelsey was just another tight end and didn't give him any special treatment. Now, maybe there's one play where I think you could say maybe they did give him some treatment, but Mahomes and Kelsey just kind of overcame that. But he was pretty darn wide open on a couple of those. And yeah, give it to Andy Reid and the offensive mind trust over there for devising up some ways to get him open. But I just don't know how, as the Raiders defense, that you could be that good at defending Travis Kelsey in the open field and then just acting like he's not there at the red zone.
We can get in on some of the individual storylines. There are legitimately
there's like 30
dozens
storylines from this game.
There really are. I mean, we have glossed over a million things one at a time. But when you go big picture, did we learn anything about the Chiefs tonight? Did you learn anything about the Raiders? Did you learn anything about life, love, and football? What are you taking with you whenever you leave the parking lot?
Here's my, I think, overarching takeaways from tonight. One is that the Chiefs, if they didn't know it before, I think they know it now, that they're going to get everybody's best shot every single week. And they know that they can't bring that same momentum and that same energy to match their opponent every single week. They're going to have to win some games with some B and C efforts. And this was a good example of, they managed to get the job done. I don't know how you can be up for 17 regular season games when everybody's coming at you. When you're the game that everybody's circling, and remember, even the Buffalo Bills are circling this game, and there's a team that everybody thinks is going to win the AFC. That's hard to do for 17 games. They're going to have to find a way to fight through it, though. They're just going to have to find a way to continue to fight when the other team brings more energy and maybe more, I don't know about focus. Maybe that's the one thing that the Chiefs can control themselves, that maybe execution and focus is the one area where they can stand out, but they got to find a way to be able to do that. The other thing, I think we heard a little about the Raiders is that two things. One is that when Derek Carr and Devontae Adams get on the same page, this team's going to be a problem. Because they're going to be able to do what they did tonight. They can strike in a hurry. They can hurt you, and they can move the football. And that's going to be a tough offense when it's clicking, and they were clicking at moments tonight. The only other thing we learned is that the Raiders are also going to Raider at some point, because I don't think the Chiefs win this game without some Raidering.
Yeah, this is the funny thing about it is I agree with you. And I also think that just like, I don't know, did the Buccaneers do some buccaneering? The Chargers certainly did some chargering. And the Chiefs, you could argue, had some moments of them chiefing. You could have, the refs, they were reffing. I just keep looking around, and I think the thing that I would only maybe tack on there is that I don't know what separates the second best team in football from the 30th best team in football. Because frankly, you might be able to make an argument in some way that the Chiefs are that and the Raiders are that. And tonight it was a 1-point game. Even if that's an exaggeration, it might be the Chiefs and the Colts. It might be the Chiefs and the Cardinals any given week. It is a bonkers league to have to watch on a regular basis and try to make sense of.
Well, and what to me separates the second best team in the league from the 30th best team in the league is consistency.
That's the word I was going to say if you didn't. We're on the same page. I love it.
Hey, the second best team in the league isn't going to bring their A effort every single week.
Right.
But they're going to do it most weeks.
Yep.
And when they don't have an A effort, they're going to have a B effort. And sometimes their C effort's going to get the job done. Yep. The 30th best team in the league brings their A game twice a year. And that's going to be when they play a team like the Chiefs. It's going to be a team when they play a team like Buffalo. Now, I don't think the Raiders are the 30th best team. I think based on if you look at the metrics of the Raiders and you look at their stats and all these things, everything points to the Raiders being a 500 team. Yep. 9-8, 8-9. That's kind of what they are. I would be very surprised if they're very far outside that deviation at the end of the season. I don't think they're necessarily as bad as their record says they are right now. They'll probably win a few games to make it up down the road. But and they're a very good offense, and I think they showed that tonight. When they're on, they can be a problem. But consistency is it. That's the reason why the Chiefs are going to win double-digit games, and a team like the Raiders won't.
Yeah. It's funny. I think it might have been Louis Riddick who tweeted this out. Somebody tweeted earlier that they wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders legit won their next 6 games. And I went and looked. They might be favored in their next 6 games. They're 1-4, and that still might be the case. So I think you're right. I don't want to say the Raiders are among the worst in the leagues. I don't think that they are. It's just absolute total chaos, it feels. And that, as you said, is about consistency. If you can be consistently great, you're elite. If you can be up and down, you fill out the middle of the pack, and there's some close games, one-score games that go one way or the other. So that is what it is.
I mean, there's a lot of teams in the league who would have brought their A game tonight and lost to the Raiders. I mean, that's just how good the Chiefs are.
Yeah. I was also going to see what the Raiders this year, this is perfect. They're 1-4. Their point differential on the year is -5.
Yeah, that's a 500 team right there. I mean, that's the very definition of a team with that kind of differential. I mean, and it tells you what kind of games they've been in, which is a lot of freaking close games.
They have a better point differential than the 3-2 Chargers, Dolphins, and Titans.
I was going to say the Dolphins are the other great example because the Dolphins also, if you look at it, are a 500 team. Yeah. They're just the exact opposite of the Raiders. They've won some games they probably shouldn't, and the Raiders have lost some games they probably shouldn't.
It's incredible. We're talking to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. Joshua Brisco and Beards McFly stay with you on the Postgame Show, brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Have you ever seen Andy Reid that mad?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like there's probably one that I'm overlooking because I remember once upon a time saying and tweeting, "This is the maddest I've ever seen Andy Reid." I don't remember when it was, so I guess I'll have to go searching for the tweet. But that stood out because I've seen Andy Reid mad, but I haven't seen him mad for that long. I mean, he was still stewing going to the half because he stopped Carl Cheffers and had another conversation with him before they went into the locker room. And the Andy Reid that you heard in the post-game press conference, that was Andy Reid biting his tongue so he didn't get fined. I mean, he didn't even want to go to the point of saying, I'm just trying not to get fined, which he will sometimes joke about. He was not joking after the game about that. I mean, that tells you a lot about how mad he was about that call.
What is to be done? In any sense that you think you have anything actionable on, what is to be done?
Here's what part one is that I don't know that the NFL wants to fix it because I think there's at some level, as much as they like to, wring their hands and complain about this and they listen to it and everything. I mean, one, we're not hearing anything from the NFL complaining about this. If anything, the NFL officiating account tonight on Twitter put out their pool report explaining the call next to the video as if they're proud of what happened tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if NFL 345 Parkway and if NFL owners have any problems with the nonsense that we've seen in the last 2 days with the Tom Brady call and that, because I think they're fine with anything that, even if it's a horrible, horrible call, anything that they think protects quarterbacks, they're fine with. I don't think that they're going to do anything to change that. But that being said, I think there's a lot of people who do want to change that, and making plays like that reviewable is probably worthy of a consideration. It's a tough one to make it work, but I know that was kind of Chris Jones's case, is that's just not something that can be easily officiated on the field at full speed.
Right.
And I agree. I mean, if the rule says that you can't come down with the quarterback on your full weight, I don't think Chris Jones did that. So now I know other people have argued and said that he did. So I mean, maybe this is, if there was a play where you could rule or you could challenge this and review that play, maybe they still let it stand.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think we're probably wasting our breath hoping that it changes, because I think that the NFL is only going to try and make things easier for quarterbacks, because that's why people watch, and they don't want these guys getting hurt.
Here's my last specific thing, and then I'll also let you pick a topic from a hat, and then we'll get you out of here. I want to hear from you on the trenches on both sides, particularly because it on live watch through, it just seems like they had fundamentally different first and second halves. The first meaningful pass rush I remember seeing was the Chris Jones strip sack / criminal assault. Since you won't say it, I will. So the violent assault of Chris Jones of Derek Carr was, I believe, the first meaningful rush of like, hey, they're maybe getting a little juice back here. And then, of course, the Raiders keep the ball. And then offensively, Mahomes was under duress a ton early in the game. It seemed like that got better as it went on as well. What did you see from the trenches on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, the Chiefs lost the battle on both sides of the football in the trenches. I mean, there's no way around it, and they'll tell you that. They weren't getting a ton of pressure on Carr, certainly not bringing 3 or 4, and they didn't even blitz that much. So they really got absolutely zero pressure. I think that Carr was pressured on about 20% of his dropbacks in the first half. He had more than, I think, 3.3 seconds to throw, which in the NFL is an eternity. They just were getting absolutely zero pressure. And on the other side, the Raiders were getting plenty of pressure, and they weren't blitzing at all. I mean, they were just bringing 3 and 4, and they were consistently getting pressure. I think you saw two things that happened. One, obviously, both sides of the football and the coordinators and the coaches made some adjustments. Chiefs did exactly what they have done before, as far as tweaking the protections a bit. So they're chipping with some tight ends. They're holding a running back in. They're doing some of those things to give some additional protection to Mahomes. And then defensively, they dialed up a few more blitzes, moved some guys around, with Tershawn Wharton out, especially in some passing situations. Malik Herring was out there, normally at defensive end, but they had him kind of rushing from the inside. Chris Jones rushed from the outside a couple of times. I mean, the what should have been a strip sack of Carr was Chris Jones lined up on the outside. So they're late in the first half. So they did the things that they needed, but I think the other part of it too was that you could just feel the momentum swing on that Chris Jones play because this crowd turned and the emotion on the sidelines turned. And talking to a lot of players after the game, I mean, they said, yeah, that play was a momentum changer. Even though they didn't get the result that they wanted, it lit a fire under this team. It woke them up. It was the wake-up call that they needed to dial it up to 11, and they did that in the second half.
Actual last question. Drill in a little bit on what you just touched on there of what was Arrowhead like in what I'll call Act 2, the post-roughing era, and I guess before also, where it felt like it was a tense building, and then just via TV, it seemed like it got rowdy.
Yeah, halftime came at absolutely the right moment because I thought that this place was like a tinderbox there for a second. Because remember, right after that exchange, it was the first play on the Chiefs drive when they're trying to get into field goal range, and you get the face masking call on the Raiders to take a McKinnon down. And that one looked kind of pretty ugly there at the sideline. It just felt like, okay, if there's one more personal foul play called before halftime, I think these two teams might fight.
Yeah.
So halftime probably came at the right time for both sides to kind of cool down a little bit. But there's no doubt. I mean, in the second half, every time that the Raiders came onto the field, the boos started. And there for the first few times, anytime that the referee's mic came on, the boos came cascading down. This place was rocking. I mean, it was as loud as a couple of times early in the second half as I've heard it in a while. There probably been some more sustained, especially the playoff games. I mean, there's always been louder, but this place got rocked a couple of times. And I think that delay of game, where the Raiders had it deep in their own territory, that was completely on the crowd. I mean, Raiders could not communicate or do anything on the field at that point, and I think the crowd helped them out there.
Did the fans end up making Carl Jeffers cry there almost?
It was pretty comical because there was that one call that Jeffers came on, and I'll give it up to Sam McDowell for having the great line. It sounded like that Jeffers was into his feelings. Yeah, it did sound. He sounded pretty emotional. He probably was a little choked up there. I do wonder if the officiating crew was thinking there for a few minutes about whether they were getting out of here alive in one piece.
I think I made the point to Josh at some point during the game where I think the discourse of the next day shifted from, oh my God, the refs suck, why are they calling this pass interference, to, did the Kansas City fans bully these poor referees?
Did they make the referees cry?
It seemed like there was a possibility at that point that there was some tears shed, and if not, it's a great, funny story to tell. So let's say it happened.
Matt, there are a lot of things that we can dig into more. We will get to do that with you, I think, presumably back in studio again this week on Friday. Plus, of course, I'm just going to go ahead and say now, so I don't make you talk about this for 15 minutes at 1:15 in the morning. I will make sure that you are properly questioned about the latest updates of Fat Bear Week whenever we see you on the Zone on Friday. For more in the meantime, of course, you can visit Matt on Twitter at Matt Derrick for all of your Fat Bear Week and also Chiefs football team needs. But predominantly, it's for the Big Bears. Matt, appreciate it as always. Enjoy the salmon, and hopefully you get home sooner rather than later.
And go Grazer. I'm Team Grazer on Tuesday.
Okay, all right.
If you know, you know.
All right, Team Grazer on Tuesday. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Josh.
I really do just want to talk about Fat Bear Week with Matt, but I also want to allow Matt to have the privilege of going home ideally before like 2 a.m. from Arrowhead. And I would also like to leave here somewhere around those times because back at 10 a.m., Beards and I will be in with, of course, Jason Anderson for an edition of The Zone from 10 to 2, where I bet we will have plenty to talk about. All right, Beards?
I haven't seen Marco yet. I don't know if he's actually staying here tonight. Do we just have like a little... Are we just all going downstairs on the couches together?
Yeah, we'll just have a little dog pile. We'll just have a little sleepover.
I didn't bring my sleeping bag. I wasn't thinking about it.
No, me neither. I'm intending on making it back home and back again. But yeah, you're right. Usually Marco comes in and does a little wave, a little check-in. Hey, guys, how's it going? But gotta go downstairs and sleep in the big chair. But I haven't seen Marco.
I think when I talked to him earlier, he was kind of thinking about it, whether he was going to do it or not. So,
he's done it twice this year already,
He
right?
has.
Make the three-peat happen, Marco. Or
we still got more primetime games. Don't worry about it.
If he is, yeah, we sure do. If he's thinking about it right now, but he hasn't made the call, that means that I imagine he did not have a great night of sleep the first 2 nights of attempting that. I'm not sure.
I think he said the second time he did, he ended up pulling the 2 recliners together, so he had like the ability to actually lay down to where they're like facing each other. So
how long is his drive in?
I don't know.
Mine is not enough to sleep on 2 connected recliners. I'll sacrifice an extra
20 minutes for me.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice an extra 20 minutes or so to have a pillow, I think. But Marco is simply built different. We've been talking a lot about Chris Jones tonight. We need to hear from Chris Jones. He spoke in the locker room after the game, not at the podium, but back in the locker room. Our own Todd Lebo was back there. Stories of Chris Jones and Derek Carr. Chris Jones doing his best to make sense of his penalty. Also now, just a few instances in a few weeks for Chris Jones, none of which he actually needs to bear any real weight of. It wasn't supposed to be a pun, but it sort of ended up there. Let's hear what Chris Jones had to say after the game.
It don't even matter what I see, you know what I mean? The game, I think as a league, we got to take initiative to a lot of these roughing the passes calls that's getting called, especially in critical situations in the game. I think we was 10 to 20 right then. That was the 3rd down stop. And I think roughing the passers, they done put such an emphasis on that we got to be able to view it in the booth now. You know what I mean? I think that's the next step as an NFL as a whole. If we're going to continue to call roughing the passers at that high of a velocity, then we got to be able to view it in the booth to make sure, because sometimes the looks can be deceiving. You know what I mean? From the ref point of view, he probably looked like that initially. But, and when you look at the replay, it's a whole different thing. So I think now to evolve roughing the passer and protecting the quarterback is essentially what we're doing in this league. We got to be able to look at roughing the passers in the booth. You take a look at Grady Jarrett situation.
I was going to ask you about that. Did you see that one from yesterday?
Of course. It's all over Twitter. And what type of situation that was in the game. That was a 3rd down stop also. And then when you take that in the initiative, if we're able to view it in the booth and the referees can get a second look because it's happening so fast, maybe we can change that. Because now it's getting absurd. You know what I'm saying? Now it's causing teams games. That was a 4th down stop on Grady Jarrett. That team would have got the ball back, and who knows what would have happened. But for them not to be able to look at that, when you sit on videos, you can, and faster, when it's faster and you're on the field, and happen that fast, the ref, they might see something different. But when they're able to look at the video and see that it's not roughing the passers, a lot of these roughing the passers would be called back. Initially like today, roughing the passer, I actually stripped the ball and gravity kind of took me to the ground. And it's a roughing the passer call in a critical situation in the game. It's 3rd down. We're down 10 points. You know what I mean? And that's a momentum shift in the game that could have affected us.
Did you
know
get
what
an
I mean?
explanation from the refs?
It's no need for an explanation, okay? So when I'm going to go up to him and say, how should I tackle? How should I not roll on him? I'm trying my best. I'm 25 pounds, okay? What you want me to do? What you want me to do? I'm running full speed trying to get the quarterback. I hit the ball. What you want me to do? I brace my hands. So I think it's like taking the initiative to extend to look at roughing the passers now as a league, like they did pass interference a couple years back, where we can view the pass interference. I think that's now the next level we're going to have to take as a league for all these roughing the passers.
Chris, what do you happen, Chris? Like, what do you do to make sure you can't change the way you play?
Hey, listen, this is a Christian-like league, man. I'm going to pray that I stay off the quarterback, okay? No, I'm going to have to pick him up and carry him, lay him down nowadays, man, But, the ref, I get it. It happens so fast, and it kind of looked like that initially, but when you actually look at through the video and slow it down, you see I kind of braced. And the ref might have seen just a big 300-pound land on him, and I get it. Not saying the ref is wrong, but I'm just saying that those situations can affect the game tremendously. And especially you get in a playoff, a critical situation like that, a game-changing play, it can affect the whole you know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. But, we just got to take initiative as a league and see what we can do better about it.
Chris, what do you think the impact was of that play afterwards? Because it certainly seemed to get you guys fired up, and probably at halftime too.
Yeah, man. We were, I think, more so making adjustments during halftime. And, Coach Reid emphasized on the next play. We can't worry about what the refs call. The refs are just doing their job, and we just got to worry about the next play. We can't let that play affect our next play. So.
Coach Reid was about as angry as I've ever seen him, though. Did you feel like that?
Hey, that's my guy. He got my back regardless. That's my dog. I love Coach Reid.
Did you get to talk to Derrick also? It looked like you guys had a chance to talk for a good 20 seconds or something with Derek Carr.
Yeah, me and DC are friends. That's my guy, man. Heck of a quarterback.
Did you guys talk about the play at all? Was it?
Yeah, he told me, he don't know how it got called. Me and him laughed about it, so. I'm a firm believer of what goes around comes around, but it'll come back around. No hard feelings. It'll
Seems like you guys got the better of most of the calls after that, though, at least.
No comment. No comment.
It's good stuff from Chris Jones there. I mean, that whole 5 minutes or something? He was working on some material. He was taking you to church. He was telling you the truth. Just good stuff there from Chris Jones today. Glad to get to hear him say all that in the context of a victory instead of a loss as well, because that sort of funeral march post-game is not nearly as fun. That concludes our locker room report for the evening here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by Twin Peaks.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
We will take a time out here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by CBD American Shaman. Whenever we come back, we'll hear from one more member of the game. Josh McDaniels spoke after the game, and we'll hear what he had to say about a whole lot of things, I'm sure, from the short yardage situations to the two-point conversion to, yes, of course, the referees. We'll hear from the head coach of the Raiders whenever we come back.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
The wait is over, Kansas. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is here. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Plus, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Right now, for every leg you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100%. With payouts bigger than ever, why bet on football anywhere else? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code 810WHB, and it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700. 21 plus, physically present in Kansas. Deposit restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets, 1 boost per eligible game. 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Opt-in required. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. B&B Theaters has entertainment for the whole family this fall with October films like Black Adam, Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and Halloween Ends. Plus Black Panther Wakanda Forever coming in November. The big screen is the best way to enjoy the magic of the movies. And B&B's luxury recliners and food and beverage options make the experience unbeatable. Tickets, showtimes, and the chance to sign up for the free Backstage Pass loyalty program all online at bbtheaters.com.
When temperatures get extreme, with blistering cold and 10 degrees wind chill, it's game on with a Champion Momentum premium residential system, creating an indoor environment that operates at peak performance and keeps you in control, right when you need it. Always leading, never compromising. Champion Heating and Cooling. Find a local dealer near you at championhomecomfort.com. Be sure to ask about our free 10-year parts and labor warranty and Champion's home indoor air quality products.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judges' Choice double gold medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hear exclusive Chiefs coverage every week from the best in the business. Only on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Trent Green, Adam Schefter, Tim Grunhard, Adam Teicher, Matt Derrick, Adam Kaplan, Chef Chadia, Nick Leckie, Gary Barnett, Bill Moss, Mark Bowrecker, Stan Weber, Sam McDowell, Seth Kaiser, Blair Kirchhoff, Kevin Harlan, Field Yates, Jesse Newell, Cynthia Freeland, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Carr looks over the three-man front. Here comes the blitz, the fake handoff. The blitz is on. Carr throws an arching pass. The receiver's down. The pass flutters incomplete. No yellow on the field, no flag. And on downs, the Chiefs are going to get it. The Chiefs are going to get it on downs. You need a 4th and 1, and you throw deep, hoping for the flag. It did not come, and the Chiefs will take over and get this win.
Wow, you're hoping for a flag, and both of his receivers were on the ground, but they actually tripped over each other.
If you and I are anything alike, dear listener, you are still waiting for that flag to come in for that final play. I sat here for like 10 full seconds, just not wondering, but knowing that there would be a penalty flag. It never came. The Chiefs were victorious, 30-29, now just a few days away from the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. A little bit of a short week, but a big victory as the team now rises to 4-1, extending their lead in the challenging AFC West. It's been different for a whole lot of reasons, and we've already heard from... Oh, go ahead, Beards.
A challenging play, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's kind of what, like emotionally challenging? Hard to watch?
Yeah, like I said, challenging play.
At times. I think the Chargers are still pretty good. Probably. Every member of the Bosa family is hurt right now, which is sort of a bummer, but... Other than that, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Once again, though, yes, of course, the Chiefs are the class of the division, which has led to a different form of challenging start for his second head coaching stint for Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels. And as it is every week, our opposing coach press conference is brought to you by Metcalf CarStar.
Brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar. Relax. They'll take it from here.
Here's a stat I just saw from OptaStats on Twitter. Tonight, the Raiders had a 150-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver, no turnovers, and no more than 2 punts. They're the first team in NFL history to do all of those in a game and still lose. Let's hear from their head coach, Josh McDaniels.
All right. Well, congratulate the Chiefs. Obviously, they made a few more plays than we did. Thought our team really battled, played the way that we wanted to try to play and get in front and try to play from ahead and give them, Andy and his team, a lot of credit. I mean, they fought back. We knew they would. We thought they would, and we figured it would be a 4-quarter game. And and they were able to make, like I said, one more play than we did. So give them credit. We'll learn a lot from this. A really good football team. I think we, competed hard tonight. Obviously not as clean as we'd like with the penalty situation and some of the mistakes that we made, but hopefully we'll learn from this and be better.
Can you take us through the rationale of going for 2 with so much time left on the clock still?
Yeah, just, felt like in that situation, we hadn't really, they had kind of had a lot of momentum offensively, obviously, in the second half. And we had a play that we felt really good about. We thought we would get a look that gave us a shot at it for sure. We had a chance. We had a fair fight at it. They played it a little bit better than we did and gave ourselves an opportunity to take the lead there and then maybe put a little extra pressure on them when they had the ball. Nothing more, nothing less. Just trying to be aggressive, trying to win the game. And I know it was 4.5 or whatever the time was, but our team felt good about it and just, felt like that was the right call at the right time.
You had the ball last. How would you classify and look back on that final drive, having the ball and failing to score?
Yeah. I thought we were doing the right thing. We started with a little over 2 to go. Ran it a couple times, got a first down, got it out of the shadow of our own end zone. They were being very aggressive with the pass rush there. And then moved it out there somewhere near midfield or whatever, and thought we had a shot at the play, to Devontae on the sideline. I thought that might have, been able to put us into field goal range or close to field goal range, and again, just doesn't look like he didn't get the second one down before he actually secured the ball. And then they came after us on the 4th and 1. We figured that would be what it was. I mean, they brought everybody. We had a chance, and we unfortunately had a couple guys that were, they weren't running the same route, but they ended up, in the same area and hit each other. So, again, I thought our team battled and, gave ourselves an opportunity, and we just didn't make one or two plays there at the end to finish it.
You were talking about kind of being aggressive on that goal line situation. Was the same mindset kind of put into that 4th and 1 for the touchdown as well?
Yeah, you're talking about in the first quarter? Yeah, I mean, they're very aggressive in those situations. Just the nature of their defense, Coach Spagnuolo, their philosophy there. When you choose to go for it in those scenarios, and they really do everything they can in their power to stop you. And you notice there wasn't anybody back there, other than Devontae in the corner. So they brought everybody, and we had a call that we felt like we were able to execute, in that situation. And, and Derrick made a great throw, and Tay made a great, catch after running a good route. So had to block a lot of people up front, to get that done. But again, same mentality. They're aggressive. We were trying to be aggressive too, and thought we had an opportunity to make a play.
I know you don't want to get fined, but how would you characterize the consistency of the penalty flags that were thrown tonight?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they call. You know what I mean? That's they know better than I do. That's their job. We respect what they do and how they do it. They got a difficult job. And I'll never stand up here and say that cost us anything in the game. I mean, that we got penalized, they got penalized. It is what it is. I know this. We can coach it and play it cleaner than we did. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm going to take away from the game is try to coach it better, try to get our guys to execute it better.
You talked about having a consistent message all through here as you head into the bye week. Does the message change at all at 1 and 4, or does it stay consistent?
No, this is a marathon. I mean, if it was a sprint, we lost the sprint. But unfortunately, that's not what it is. Fortunate for us, it's a marathon, and so we understand what these games mean, and they each matter. They're each significant at the end of your season. We know that they add up, but I think the thing we have to focus on is take the positives and then also try to learn from the things that we're not quite doing well enough. That's our job. That's what we're going to continue to do. That's what we've done after we won. That's what we've done after we lost, and we're going to continue to do that. And there's progress, that we've made. And like I said, that's a good football team out there, and we're right there at the end. We have to learn how to be able to finish some of those games. That's what we have to do, and that's my job.
The injury update on Darren Waller?
Nothing at this point. I don't think it's super significant. It just was enough to, I'd say, keep him out for the rest of the game.
We kind of talked about earlier this week about the stout Chiefs running defense. However, Josh Jacobs had another really great day on the ground.
Yep.
How much does he continue to impress you throughout the season?
Yeah. He's a really good back. He's a really good football player, and he loves football. And give him a lot of credit. Give our offensive line, our tight ends, Jakob, a lot of credit. They're in there banging away and trying to create openings for him, and he sees it. And we figured that, if we gave ourselves enough chances to run it against them, that we might have some success. You know what I mean? They're a team that has gotten out in front of some teams, and, you don't really get to run it that much. So I thought being able to keep giving it to them was important, and Josh is the kind of back that just, gets better as the game goes on. So, really I'm proud of his effort, and we got to start turning some of his performances into W's.
You guys all set? Okay.
Good to go. Thank you.
There's Josh McDaniels, who I think, all things considered, handled that press conference pretty well. Not that either coach really had like one particular big bag of dirty laundry to air out all at once. I think both sides got some costs and benefits from the refereeing crew, and that, I guess, just sort of comes with the territory. Ultimately, the Chiefs won by the narrowest of margins available at the NFL level. 1 point. 30-29, your final score, as the Kansas City Chiefs rise to 4-1, extend their lead in the AFC West, and continue their dominance in one of the NFL's oldest rivalries. That's going to do it for us here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Thanks for listening all night long. We'll talk to you tomorrow on The Zone, as the Chiefs are victorious, 30-29. Talk to you tomorrow at 10. Till then, bye, Mom.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is